Tick-tock, time to rock. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon to everyone who's watching from all over the world. Yeah, we're a couple minutes late. Today there was actually no delay. We were just chatting. We are just chatting about the Dawa Wars. We're not discussing the Dawa Wars today, but we were chatting about the Dawa Wars, namely the most recent version of the Dawa Wars. Of course, Jake, Bronca, whatever, Jake, Bronco, Billy, whatever,
Jake Cappuccino.
and Daniel Hakikachu blasting away at each other. But AP,
Yes.
everyone assumed or thought or was told that the reason Jake backed out of the debate at the last second, the fresh and fit debate, was that I don't know what they said, but I've seen people who thought that like he had a bad internet connection or something happened or travel issues or something like that. But then he just goes in and posts a video and says, "No, these guys aren't defending the correct version of Islam that I wanted to defend, and so I'm not even going to I'm not going to appear working with these guys." That's crazy, man. That's like serious Dawa Wars.
Yeah, I think that they actually said, I don't entirely remember, so I don't want to misrepresent them, but I think that they said that something last minute came up, or Jake had to go somewhere, which is why he couldn't attend, and it just jumped in. But they made some weird excuse instead of telling them that Jake decided not to go ahead. Which is quite telling because Jake now admitted basically that he didn't want to join because
they weren't defending authentic. They weren't going to give the right views on authentic Salafi Akida and so on. And so, you know what? Hey, I have to tell you, man, I may have seriously underestimated Jake. Like, I pick the Dawa guys that I like based on how much division and destruction they're going to cause. So you take someone like Ijaz, who had a horrible debate performance. Ijaz is never going to be a major Dawa guy. He just doesn't have, you need something, right? You need like some sort of charisma or an ability to, thump your chest and say, "Me strong." You need some characteristic that is valued in the community, and he's kind of a little whiny pipsqueak and so on. So Ijaz, he's not going anywhere. But anyway, so you want your Ali Dawa was the one who threw me off. If before Ali Dawa became popular, you said, how much division could this guy cause and how popular could he become? I'd be like, waste of time, man. Waste of time. The guy's a joke. He's never going to be a huge influence in Dawa, never going to be able to be in a position to cause a ton of division. I was wrong. I would have been wrong. I would have been completely wrong about Ali Dawa. Somehow, I still don't know what it is. You've said before that somehow he appeals to like the kids generation, maybe because he sounds like a cartoon character. I don't know. But anyway, but the point is, they're Dawa guys where Daniel Hakikachu, he's got a collection of valuable, important skills that will ultimately divide the ummah. Muhammad Hijab, that is a guy who will ultimately divide the ummah. Sheikh Uthman is a guy who's going to cause massive division in the ummah. But Jake, I'm thinking like, there's no way, man. Jake, no, waste of time. Not important to interact with him. Not important to respond to much stuff. Maybe toss something in there every once in a while about him. But this guy's not going to be of much benefit to ripping apart the ummah. Now he's just like blasting away at everyone in every direction, and I'm like, I don't know, man. This guy might have what it takes. Wild stuff,
he
man.
might. The good thing about Jake is that he seems to have some kind of he's not honest. He's not a very honest guy. I can't say that he's honest. He has been, especially when it comes to dealing with the non-Muslims, he has been very, 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 very dishonest here and there. However, when it comes to internal matters, when it comes to being honest about Islamic tenets, being honest about Islamic theology, and all that, then he gets very firm in attacking his fellow Muslims if they say something that is unacceptable to him.
Mm-hmm.
So in that regard, he's actually quite quite good. He is quite good.
Very
He was also
helpful.
one of the few people who was popular, who are popular, and who called out Andrew Tate repeatedly for being such a degenerate, horrible person, somebody who praises himself, who deifies himself, and so on. He is one of the few people who actually called him out on that. So there is some great value, but there's also great value in great value at Walmart. So that's the problem with that. Great value in Islam is just like great value in Walmart.
But we've got some quite valuable up and coming Dawa guys. Because guys, like I keep a mental list, and there's only four. There's only four on my list who are like the most valuable in the amount of destruction they're eventually going to cause. And I've been saying for a couple of years now, we need a few more. We need like seven. You get seven of these guys, all crying for attention and trying to destroy each other. It'll completely annihilate the Dawa. And I don't know, man. Jake, but I thought no way, like almost close to 0% chance Jake was going to be a top tier Dawa destroyer from within. But now I don't know. I'm like 20 to 30% thinking he might be top tier, top drawer, the top drawer.
Top tier.
Hey guys, so what I wanted to do in this show, I was informed by one of my someone who's been a longtime supporter of the channel that there's a video that got banned in India. Video about the origins of Islam by Zafar Heretic. He's an atheist ex-Muslim, but it's about a 30-minute video. Anyway, it got pointed out that this video was banned in India, and that's fairly rare. I only had a couple, I think 2 videos ever that got banned in India. I had dozens, probably like 70 or 80 or something like that got banned in Pakistan. Pretty normal in Pakistan. But in India, harder to ban videos that are critical of Islam. So we're going to watch it. We're going to watch the video that just got banned. I think they had an Urdu version and they have the English version. We're going to watch the English version and check it out. Then there's a shorter video of Zafar Heretic where he explains how he became an ex-Muslim. So we'll go ahead and start out with that one first, just so everyone gets an idea.
Who cares about India? India, who really cares about India? It's like, it's not a very great country. It's not a good country. It's not like a cool country.
Why are you randomly attacking India in
not a
your fake way?
It's not a very likable country. It's also it's kind of trash, to be honest. Like
Dude.
India, when it comes to the nature, the health system, and
I want to tell you something else about India. They quite frequently do not understand joking and sarcasm. If you have people like English is second or third or fourth language, AP, and you say that, they're going, "What he's saying," and they do not.
I know. I just wanted to. I want to contribute to making this live stream banned in India.
So, yeah, guys. So AP's joking, everyone. Before you all flip out, it's I don't know where he got his sense of humor. Whether it's Germany or whether it's Germany. Now he's calling you all babies. But whether he got it in Germany or Turkey or the U.S. or whether he was just born that way, we do not know. But you're going to be watching our channel. Better get used to not taking everything we say completely seriously. So anyway, we're gonna check out those videos. We'll take out these first couple. We'll take these first few super chats here. And who we have? Richard Schiefer 042 gifted 5 Apologetics Roadshow memberships. Thank you, Richard. We'll take these first couple super chats and then we'll watch the first video, which is a short one by Zafar Heretic explaining how he became a Muslim. But let's see. Jeremy Mott, may we all be sealed for a good year this year. It would be nice to have a good year instead of like a sucky crap year, like a bunch of people want us to have. Abraham said, I'm in a moral quandary. Is AP an agnostic or a Christian? Why aren't you looking at me? You're disheveled.
Disheveled. That's what Mohammed Hijab said to Piers Morgan.
Uh,
Totally random.
totally based. B Wood, I posted a pic on my community post of you looking like a king. King David, even. I'll check it out. That'll be.
That sounds pretty
I
gay.
do like pictures. David, do you have an evangelism plan for AP if he converts to Judaism? Hey, you know what'd be hilarious if you if you converted to Judaism and then like 2 years later you converted to Christianity and you'd be like, yeah, I was a Muslim, then I was an atheist, then I was an agnostic, then I was a Jew, and now I'm a Christian. That'd be funny. Or you became Messianic Jew even though you're not.
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
guys, hey, suspiciously warm pager. I'm just going to watch what happens, and whatever it is, I think it's going to be entertaining.
I should have explored the other ones too before this. Though I should have like converted to, I don't know. I
Hinduism.
should have gone converted to Hinduism,
You have
Buddhism.
said in the past you thought about Buddhism, that you did like things in Buddhism or something like that.
I did. I actually spent quite some time, several months, just studying Buddhism and reading Buddhist books and listening to Buddhist stuff and learning it all. And then the thing is, I was kind of a little bit impressed and also a little bit amazed by Buddhist thinkers and thought and all that. But then, as I continued with it, I just became less and less and less impressed with it. Honestly.
Interesting. So AP might not actually be all of the religions. That's sad to hear. Michelle says there was a false prophet called Mo. He stole lots of stories for show. His cult then began robbing old caravans. He made Jews and Christians his foe. P.S. Leather straps. hope you're both well. Yes,
Very
we
nice.
are. AP, will we ever see you make your Speaker's Corner debut? No, because he will be brutally murdered.
I don't really want to, honestly. I want to go to lots of places, even controversial places, but I really honestly don't have the desire to go to Speaker's Corner. I understand why it's something for David, for example. Like you would go there and you could totally participate in the shouting and all that. I wouldn't do it. I would just get tired after a minute and want
Yeah.
to leave.
Here's the thing. It's your presence that would be interesting. You could just go and stand there and watch everyone scream and flip out at you. We should just, hey, you and me should just show up to Speaker's Corner and just go stand there, not say a word, but just stand there for like 2 hours while it's just recording the reaction. That'd be funny stuff.
We should wear a statement or something and then just walk
Yeah.
around there.
Yeah. Just pick a T-shirt that says something. We each have something different, and we just stand there with that in everyone's faces. Classic D Wood and AP. Islam came from Lucifer through Momo, sustained by PPL. Does that mean people, or does that stand for something?
It means people.
Sustain. It's people. It's people. Anna says, I wonder if there is a way to lift your ban in Canada, eh? Eh? Canadian Christians seem to be very apathetic about Islam, eh? We need you guys here, eh? Well, AP's free to travel. I'm not. If anyone doesn't know what we're talking about, I'm not allowed in Canada because I'm a convicted felon. I had a flight that went through Canada once, back from the UK. And going back from the UK, there was a layover in like Toronto or whatever. They were waiting for me when I got off the plane. They caught him. They caught the dizzle. People thought they couldn't catch the dizzle, but they caught the dizzle, man.
Wait, there is such a thing where if you are a convicted felon, you cannot go to
Canada. Yeah, you have to put in all this paperwork and go through this legal route and stuff like that to try and get access to them. Like, I don't want to go there that bad. I was just going through on a layover. Anyway, they took me in the office and sat me down and explained the law and told me if I ever show up again, I'll be arrested immediately. And then they had a guy with a machine gun. And then they had a soldier with a machine gun escort me to my gate so they could make sure the dizzle got out of their country.
I always wanted to go to Canada. I was exchanging thoughts to go and have a chat in person with God Son. Maybe that's something I should explore. And maybe you should
definitely do that.
Getting that solved as well. And then we could go
about that. No. Gad Sad has to come to us, or you have to go up there. From Arabia, thanks for watching. Have a good night. Sheikh Mike Wingjalinj from Arabia. Susan says, I interviewed Mark Dury on my YouTube channel, on Islam. Huh.
Susan has a a YouTube channel, which I noticed because she shared something that we did on our channel on her Twitter, and then also mentioned her own YouTube channel. So I went there and saw that she actually does have a YouTube channel and she talks to people. Quite interesting.
Yeah,
Haven't
we
really
will.
checked out what she does yet, but she's a Christian. She's one of your people.
Yeah, I told you we should have like a regular show at least once or twice a month where we go through the videos of people who have channels. Because there's Susan here, and of course Apostate of Allah. Here's another one.
Oh
What
yeah.
can a single mom, me, who works full time and goes to school full time to make content a little more convenient? My ministry to Muslims is a priority. I just need advice. What can a single mom who works full time and goes to school full time do to make content a little more convenient? My ministry to Muslims is a priority. I just need advice. Well,
You're a mom. I don't know how to answer, but you can probably.
yeah, as far as my experience, I mean, I started YouTube when I was teaching at Fordham and in graduate school, and so had to kind of scrounge around for time and so on. But one thing that helps, I mean, some people might like technology as far as doing this, but I would carry either index cards or a little notepad with me, and then as I'm just driving around or something like this, driving to the university or something like that, or on the train or something like that. Just keep a little notepad. As I'm coming up with ideas, jot them down in the notepad or on the note cards, stick them back in my pocket and stuff. And just as you're doing other things during the day, you can be preparing stuff for videos and so on. So if your schedule is already pretty full and you still want to do YouTube, you just kind of make time wherever you can, so that when you're actually sitting down to record something, you've already got a bunch of your ideas and thoughts together on a topic. And so, but yeah, it is difficult, but you can do it. What was that lady who wrote the Harry Potter stuff? J.K. Rowling.
Jakey, just kidding, Rowling.
Yeah, she wrote Harry Potter. She said she was be ironing clothes and stuff like this and coming up with ideas and stuff like that. But she was constantly busy, and she said she made time. So it can be done. Stuff can be done. Call of Ghidorah. David, have you played the game BioShock? Are you joking? You think I've played anything? BioShock Infinite, and would you say the fictional religion in the game is actually a variant of Christianity or not? No.
I played it.
The only two modern games, so the games I'm familiar with were like Super Mario Brothers, Pac-Man, that kind of stuff. The only modern games I played were Call of Duty, just zombie mode, and Halo Wars. Not the other Halo games, just Halo Wars. Those are the only two modern games I played. APD Wood, what do you think of circumcision, for or against? Are you for or against circumcision, AP?
You first, is your channel.
Are you for or against male genital mutilation?
Are you for or against genital genocide? I don't know. I'm not a fan of it, honestly.
Well, too bad. If you're converting to Judaism, you have to get circumcised.
I'm not a fan of it, but I get it.
Yeah.
I don't have an opinion on it at this point.
Yeah, I don't know if it's I don't know. I was circumcised when I was a baby. My kids were. Never thought much about it. If you are doing it because you think it's like I don't know, it somehow gets you in good with God, then I would be like, I kind of feel like the Apostle Paul. He's like, well, just cut it all off then. Paul says that in Galatians. He's like, if you think that gets you to God more than God, Jesus, and so on, then just chop it all off. Anyway, so
it's kind of funny that that Islam adopted it as well from the Jews.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So did lots of Christians. Some Christians didn't, but
it's weird that Islam has it. That Islam just took it from them as well, and they were probably like, but the Jews are doing something to their peepees. We will do it too.
We shall do it too. There were other prophet warlords in Arabia during Mo's time who also were coming with their own verses. Musaylima was very popular. That is why the Quran contains a challenge, and Muslims made Muhammad the last prophet. We're going to be looking on some of the origins now. in this video.
There was Musaylima was killed after the death of Muhammad, when people actually rallied around him and saw him as the next prophet after Muhammad, or the new prophet. The guy claimed to be a prophet, and there is even a religion or a cult that is based on Musaylima actually existed for quite a while after Islam rose. It kind of secretly existed, but it had these ideas of how it's very funny. According to an Iranian text on heresies, the cult of Musaylima claimed that Muslims took the message of Muhammad, which Muhammad delivered, and corrupted it and changed it, and that Islam, as we know it, is a corruption of what Muhammad actually preached. It's quite fun because this is the assertion that Islam makes about others, but that cult made those same allegations about Muhammad, about Islam. Yeah, beast.
Here we have Menj. That's the Muslim apologist was caught for child pee years ago. Never knew. No, I recall when. It sucks for him because it was on the news of them they're recording while they stormed his little apartment and were checking his computer and stuff. I don't know what the legal outcome of it was, but I know that he was. His house was raided for that sort of thing. But I mean, he still appears in debates and so on. You just debated him recently.
Yeah. He said before that nothing came out of it, and that he's innocent, that there was no conviction or something. I don't know what actually happened.
That's the rough part, because that's entirely possible. I don't know what happened in the law. I haven't seen any updates or something like that. All I've heard is him saying, no, it's not true. It's like, well, they put it all over the news. Like, no, I was found innocent or something like that. The thing is, when you're a compulsive liar like that, I can't take what you're saying seriously, even if you're telling the truth. It's the boy who cried wolf scenario over again. Maxim says, wait, so you can have Terry Simps in Canada, but not a reformed felon? This some bull. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Makes me want to become like the most famous person in the universe and then like I will not come to your stupid country. Remember me. It would be like in Pretty Woman, where they wouldn't let her, they didn't want her shopping in the store because she was a prostitute. But then she came back all like super rich, dressed all fancy, and then I don't want to buy anything at your stupid store. Huge mistake when you ran me out of your store. That's what I'll be. I'll be like Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman. Show up and they're like, "Oh, come to Canada, come here, come to Canada." And I'm like, "Ha! Huge mistake, wrong. I just Pretty Womaned you. I Pretty Womaned you. Ha!" Cracks me up. Let's see. Can you do that fantastic voiceover that sounds like Wazulu? Wait, what? What is this? You know what this is talking about? Can you do that fantastic voiceover? Sounds like Wazulu haha X. What? I don't even know what this is about. Anyone else know what this is about? I don't.
Do you mean my sound?
Non-Muslims should join hands and be united and form an Avengers team to tackle Thanos Islam, which seeks destruction of all non-Muslims. We got to be unified. Yeah, and that's what I mean. The video we're watching is Zafar Heretic, so he's an atheist who will be more in like the new atheist camp as far as his views on people becoming more rational if they become atheists and they become more scientific and so on. And so, at the end of the day, I don't think that actually works. It doesn't happen. But as far as ex-Muslims, yes, ex-Muslims need to be united, whether they're ex-Muslim Christians, ex-Muslim atheists, ex-Muslim Hindus, whatever. You guys are all in the same category as far as Islam calls for all of your deaths, and that should be enough to unite you on that issue. Indians seem to really support Israel. My Indian friend referred to himself as .Indian, not a feather Indian. .Indian, not a feather Indian. Yeah, and I think I don't know why, beyond just what you might expect, namely that Indians have experienced it firsthand. Islam wanting to control them, breaking out from the control of Islam, and then Islam fighting to regain control over them. Indians know it firsthand. They've experienced it. So if anyone knows kind of what things are like for the Jews, it's the people of India. Salman Al-Farsi played a big role in creating Islam. Look into Jason Jaranji's explanation. He's been on Myth Vision and Gnostic. Can you have him on? Someone who's been on Myth Vision? If you want to tell me, hey, don't ever pay attention to someone, just say he's with Myth Vision. My only objection to Myth Vision was that he did something with that horrible, awful guy that AP loves so much, but who was
Myth Vision is cool, man.
No, Myth Vision is cool. It's just guilt by association.
Was Salman Farisi was on Myth Vision?
Was he? Do you know who that is? Do you know who that is?
No. Can you go back to who was on there?
Salman Al-Farsi.
I know. Jason Giorgiani.
Yeah.
Jason Giorgiani. Wait a minute. He's been on Myth Vision. Who is Jason Giorgiani? I don't know.
Don't know. That's why you should look it up. Miguel says, hey, love the show. I just came off Avery's live and offered him and the panel free a complimentary hypnotherapy session to help my girlfriend grow her client base, and most of them said hypnotherapy is anti-Christian. Can you help clear this up and shine some light on how it's just a tool to help people? I cannot clarify anything. I don't know anything about it. I mean, if like all I think of with hypnotherapy is like for people who smoke, and then they'll like put them through hypnotherapy, and then they like don't want to smoke anymore. If it works and you're not doing anything weird, I wouldn't have a problem with it. So yeah, in other words, if you hypnotize someone and put someone through hypnotherapy or something like that, and you can help them get off drugs or get off cigarettes or something like that, I'd be totally fine with that. Other than that, I don't know anything about it, so can't comment. But thank you for the huge super chat there.
Why would it even be against? Why would it even be against Christianity?
I have no idea. I don't know.
But
with that said, I don't know what their arguments would be to say that it's against Christianity or something like that. In other words, there's no like, oh, Matthew 22, Jesus said, he who practices hypnotherapy shall be excommunicated or something like that.
It's not magic. It's a completely normal, natural process with which you simply appeal to the physical mind, physical brain mind, and condition it and make use of it in a useful, in a good way. And people have lots of wrong ideas about what hypnotherapy is. It's not this whole thing where you take control of somebody and then make them do whatever you want and they have to do it. That's not really what happens. That only happens in movies and on fake hypnotherapist stages where they try to impress the audience by pretending to do something to people. That's not really what happens. It's a very normal, natural process and has nothing to do with any magic or anything of that kind.
Yeah, so I don't know a ton about it. If it works, just make sure you go to someone who's not creepy, because if you're being hypnotized by some creepy pervert, that'd be a different story. I would have a problem with that. If you're doing something to, again, get people off smoking or drugs or something like that, totally fine with it. Cough. Allah is a pagan moon idol. Cough. That's actually going to come up. Some of that stuff is going to come up in this video we're about to watch. Just curious, you guys seen the show Twin Peaks? No, but I heard of it. That was way back in the day.
I haven't seen it.
No. No, but I remember that there was a show called Twin Peaks. May we have a good Day of Atonement from Isa Kabir.
Inshallah. Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. Those who need to hear it are not here anymore at this point, at this time. Not because they're dead, but because it is already time to shut off and go do Yom Kippur. Not sure why you are here, Isa Kabir.
Yeah. Black Milky says, best impressions all time on your shows. Number 2, D Wood as Andrew Tate, best Tate impression on the planet. And number 1, exit stage left, Finkelstein D Wood. No, AP actually does a better Finkelstein. See, we've talked about this before, in that if you're doing an impression, your goal can be to sound like the person, to sound exactly like the person, or your goal can be to sound like an exaggerated, silly parody of the person. And both those kind of work. So AP can sound just like the guy, and I'm just imitating Snaggletooth or Snagglepuss or whatever his name was from the old cartoon. Exit stage left. Two more here. India is the only country where Jews never suffered persecution. A Jewish general in the Indian army helped defeat the Pakistani army and create Bangladesh in 1971. Huh. I did not know that.
This is pure India propaganda.
India propaganda. Hypnosis, haha, silly Kufr will believe anything. From Sheikh Mike Wingeling. Thank you. Yes, we'll believe anything. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and watch this first video. It's a shorter one from Zafar Heretic. So, let's see. Here we go. Why I left Islam.
This is an atheist channel, which tries to convey the truth of Islam to Muslim people and make them humanists and rationalists. Our aim is not to spread any kind of hatred towards Muslim people or to humiliate them.
You don't want to humiliate them? You have to humiliate them. You have to.
We have to destroy them.
You have to humiliate them. Okay. And here we go. So this is Zafar Heretic on why he left Islam.
Hello and welcome. I am your friend, Zafar Heretic, your host and well-wisher. Like and share this video, subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon so you don't miss any updates. This is not a new video. It has been taken from my first Q&A, where I replied in short to the questions of many people regarding why I left Islam and why I became an atheist. Many people liked it, and several demanded to bring this video separately so they can share it. And because this is a small video, I could manage to add English subtitles into it. Also, a lot of people asked me to create a Patreon account, so I created it. I have placed it in the About section of my channel. You will also find this in the comment section of this video.
So you have links to Patreon and PayPal there. If you don't know Zafar Heretic, you might not know whether you want to support him, but that's where you'd find that because we're about to go through the videos. If you like what you're seeing, then
the music is very creepy. I'm kind of scared.
You're creepy and scared. We hang out, so.
So, let's start now. I am from a modern Muslim family.
Wait a minute. How are you a little blonde? How are you a little blonde-haired kid? Come on.
Come on.
You're not.
My name is John. My name is John.
That is the most like Swedish-looking kid. Anyway.
I was not following Islam very much in life, but I had full trust in God. Apart from my parents, there are two more siblings. They were always neutral since childhood, but when I was a child, I used to pray namaz and used to fast as well. When I grew a little more, I applied logic.
Oh, people are saying he's significantly louder than us. I can turn that on. Okay. I'll turn that down a little bit, hopefully.
Turn it down. Turn it down.
If God is equivalent to parents, then why does he ask us to be hungry for him? And why would he ask to do the stupid namaz practice?
Did he say God is... Huh?
You didn't change much. It's still extremely loud.
I turned it way down. Who are you? Stop lying about me.
No, you didn't. It's exactly the same.
Later on, I left those practices, but I still had God in my life. I was not even 18 yet when I started a small job in an office. Muslim colleagues at the office tried telling me that fasting is mandatory for all Muslims, but I ignored them. I was sure that the God who created us would be much more powerful and intelligent. Why would he ask to do some stupid practices? However, I hadn't read the Hadith or Quran with meaning yet. I sometimes used to share good posts of Islam on Facebook. Then, I used to block people who abused Muhammad in the comments.
Beast.
That would be me. No, I never got blocked. But
I used to think they were spreading hate. How could it be possible that a person who started such a big...
What are you talking about? I don't know what you're hearing. I have it. I'm looking at the audio levels right now. I turned it down like 40 freaking % so that it's lower, significantly lower than ours, and you're still whining. I don't know what you're hearing. Hang on. Guys, we'll ask. Still loud. D Wood, turn it down a little bit. All right. Guys, I'll play it down. I turned it down more. Tell us if we're basically even. We're basically want to know if the audio level is significantly louder than us speaking here. So
religion would have been of that character, what they claim. Although I had a lot of questions in mind because I studied science in school, I never liked discussing it with Muslim scholars because I never liked the way.
They're saying, no, some people are saying it's somewhat loud. I don't know what to do. People are saying it's fine.
It's basically
some people are saying it has not changed. Let me turn this all the way down, and then people tell me if it's still the same. Hang on.
They said that God
Is it quieter now?
Can never be questioned.
Now it's quieter.
Okay, so now it's quieter. Okay, so I know this volume control is
seemed like
changing.
they were uneducated to me, and I was
this is
waiting for a person who could put science and Islam together.
Is that right?
I could have left Islam at that time,
I think that's
but
okay.
then
That's okay.
Is that even now, guys?
I think that's
Hey,
okay. Yeah.
great. If you're still saying too loud, I will destroy your life. Now people are saying too quiet. Fine. Too loud. Okay, I'm not believing any of it. I'm just going to believe AP from now on. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me back up because we've got Zakir Naik on the screen.
Back it up.
Did you see that clip of Zakir Naik? That clip that we should have played that, but Zakir Naik where he's just saying, if they were guilty of what? Of raping someone, can you be forgiven? And he's saying, yes, you can seek forgiveness from Allah. And he talks about all these things, and there are 5 different ways. And then he gets to, have you harmed the woman? Have you harmed the woman? And he says, well, if she's dressed inappropriately, no. He's basically saying that she was asking for it, and you haven't harmed her. You haven't harmed the woman. You do not need to seek to make things right with the woman that you've raped if she was not dressed Islamically.
Yeah, he says if the woman doesn't follow the rules of covering herself up completely, covering everything, whole body except the face, then it's her own fault.
religion
Yeah.
He invited
would
the
have been
We need to, you don't want to make an entire live stream out of that, but we might want to bring that up in a related live stream.
of that character, what they claim. Although I had a lot of questions in mind because I studied science in school, I never liked discussing it with Muslim scholars because I never liked the way they said that God and his messenger can never be questioned. I never liked that behavior. All the scholars seemed like they were uneducated to me, and I was waiting for a person who could put science and Islam together. I could have left Islam at that time, but then I watched a show by Zakir Naik, a medical doctor.
he saved the day.
I was a little happy that I found at least one person who could present a scientific version of Islam to the world.
Scientific
I
version.
took the manipulated science of Zakir Naik seriously and came back to Islam again, peaceful Islam. But this lie could not remain for long. Once my non-Muslim friend asked me, did your messenger really marry a...
What's that?
But that's a very good question.
Brother making a good point.
He said,
Chapter number
If
15,
the Quran-
verse number 22.
it complies with science. But let me tell you that the Quran is completely in line with science. How's that answer the question?
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Zakir Naik is never one I've never. It didn't come naturally to me. Like I could hear Ali Dawa a couple times just do that. But Zakir Naik is a little rougher because he's got some weird speech impediments and lisp and stuff going on. Would require some practice for me.
child of age 6? I replied, no, brother. These are just fake stories to spread hate.
Oh wait,
Could
going
not
back.
remain
Let's talk
for
about
long.
Aisha.
Once my non-Muslim friend asked me, did your messenger really marry a child of age 6? I replied, no, brother. These are just fake stories to spread hate. He did not reply, but I had a thought this time that I should really look into Islam now. So if anyone makes any such claim, I can answer with reality. First of all, I picked up the Quran and studied it with meaning. I thought for a moment that the translation could be wrong, but when I studied the explanations related to the Quran, I was shocked. I read other explanations like the story of Aisha, studied about sex slaves in Islam, 72 Huri, the triple divorce system, the concept of halala. I used to think these things could have been misinterpreted by people, but all these were part of the Quran. Science was completely destroyed. I was very depressed. What is this? Is this the Islam I was following? Then I watched the justifications of famous scholars on these topics. I was not satisfied. The more justifications I watched, the more hate I felt towards the ideology. Now, the things that were inside started...
What's that?
Let's pause here. Well, there are some of the things that he mentioned are not a part of the Quran. They're just there are certain aspects that are alluded to in the Quran, such as the virgins produced, handmade by Allah in the virgin production factory in heaven. But 72 of them is not specified in the Quran. That is something that you will find in certain hadiths. The other thing, the halala, is not directly from the Quran, that the triple divorce is not directly from the Quran. These are things that you will find in hadith and interpretations. So, but yeah, pretty much the point here stands. Stop nitpicking everything. Just keep playing the video.
Okay, I'll try to stop.
Popping up, like why there are so many religions and why everyone thinks their religion is true.
Because they're all right.
That's a rough... See, here's the thing. If you were going to say, hey, you got all these different religions, they all think there's right. Therefore, there's a problem, and we need to become atheists. You could replace religion with just worldview, and now you're in the same camp. Everyone's got their worldview, and everyone thinks they're right. But guess what? That's true of atheists. That's true of Christians. That's true of Muslims. That's true of all kinds of people. Like serious agnostics in the sense of I don't know would be in a different category, but even they can be in the none of these people know, and we're the only group that knows that we don't know, and so we're a separate group. But yet the issue here is, guys, anyone who thinks you're right about something, which is everyone, then you think everyone who disagrees with you is wrong. Unless you're a complete relativist. But even if you're a relativist, then you think everyone who is not a relativist is wrong. There's no way to avoid I'm right and other people are wrong. So that kind of can't be a criterion. Other than that. Anyway, so minor point.
Yeah, I would say that the fact that there are many religions is clearly proof that all religions are false. This is what you can clearly deduce based on logic and reason and science.
And you heard it from AP himself.
Studied cosmology, which I hardly studied in school time, studied physics, chemistry, biology. After studying these, my God was left behind. I noticed that science was being introduced everywhere. The crap ayats of Quran were being manipulated to fit into...
Did he say crap ayats?
The crap ayats? That's fun.
The crap ayats?
Ayats of Quran were being manipulated. After studying these, my God was left behind. I noticed that science was being introduced everywhere. The crap ayats of Quran were being manipulated to fit into different branches of science. I listened to ex-Muslims...
Hey! What? You see that?
Fit into different branches of science.
Look.
I listened to ex-Muslims...
What? That was AP. He listened... AP was the example of an ex-Muslim he was listening to.
To fit into different branches of science. I listened to ex...
That's you, man.
I was gonna start talking trash about this guy, but now I'm completely with him.
Although I can't tell if this is the same person because the beard is significantly different.
That's when he was gay. No,
not gay. Gayer. The bigger your beard is, the less gay you are.
Exactly. That's interesting. No, I was gonna say this guy is annoying me. I don't want to listen anymore. But now that he presented me as an example,
I will listen to everything.
Now I'm totally. I agree with everything he says.
Okay.
Don't talk trash.
So we'll back that up. We'll back that thing up a little bit, and then.
The crap ayats of Quran were being manipulated to fit into different branches of science. I listened to ex-Muslims and verified the references they were giving. They were speaking the truth. Then I studied Islam in depth. Now I knew what was the game behind all this. It was a business where some people were working on it to keep it standing. They even can kill people who speak the truth through the same system. I had two ways now. One, to remain silent on this and keep it to myself and live my life happily. The other, to stand against this lie and speak against it. Speaking against it looked wise to me, but I could not think of a way to do it. Then I saw that several other people are doing it through social media. Then I also came to support them in this fight. Now I have started this war alone here, but I am afraid I won't be able to win this alone. This fight can be won only when more and more people can fight with me.
That's true.
Because the people we are fighting are no less strong in any way than us.
Well, intellectually, they are less strong.
Commanders who have such great weight in talks that anyone who hears them can be easily trapped.
That's true.
They have a crowd with them who can destroy anyone on a single command. They have money, power, arms, And most importantly, they have a fake God. On the other side, we have only truth and humanity with us. Remember, we have to fight a thought, an ideology which is against humanity. Also, remember that if we have a war with people, then we can win this war by simply killing those people. But if we have a war with an ideology, then it's not that easy to win. Truth always wins, and if truth is not winning, then it's a sign that the war is still going on. So come with me now and stand up to give your generations a good tomorrow. Support me so my message can reach the right people and many people, so tomorrow could be a day of humanity and a day of science. That's it for today. We will meet again in the next episode with some other topic. Till then, be safe and take care of yourself and your loved ones. Jai Hind. May humanity protect you.
May humanity protect you.
You forgot to say stay away from Islam.
Yeah, you got to say stay away from Islam.
Yeah.
How'd you come up with such a dope catchphrase? Like, where were you? Do you remember when you're like, ooh, I'm going to sign off with stay away from Islam?
You know what's funny? I think I never actually decided to turn it into a phrase until I made a video in which I said it. And then I thought, hey, that sounds kind of cool. So, so I just kept repeating it, and then it caught on. And people loved it.
It's hard. It's hard coming up with a good catchy catchphrase like "TikTok, time to rock."
Indeed.
Hey, so he was making there towards the end is making a very important point about you have a lot of Muslim speakers. They have a lot of funding behind them. Even though they'll go to war, you take one of these Muslim speakers like Zakir Naik, and if you have a room full of people who don't know any better, he will sound very convincing and so on. So it's sort of the idea that that's what we're up against. We're up against a system with like 2 billion people, and you have lots of differences and lots of division in there, but you have a large portion of that 2 billion people who want to impose Islam on the rest of the world, and will do it by almost any means necessary. If they can do it in a physical confrontation, they'll do that. If it's going to be just through out babying other people by producing more babies, higher birth rates, they'll do that. Immigration, all sorts of means. That's kind of what you're up against, and it's a situation where there are lives on the line. Zafar, Heretic, AP, they're all under a death sentence from this ideology, meaning if certain people take over, then there will be massive numbers of death sentences. I'm under a death sentence for a different reason, just because I am considered a blasphemer, even though I'm super nice and friendly. And so anyway, long story short, yeah, the critics of Islam, there need to be more of them and need to be united, very united. Whatever else you disagree about, say, hey, we disagree on this, we disagree on that, we disagree on this, we disagree on that, we disagree on this, but we are all united on not wanting all of our heads chopped off in the name of Allah, and therefore we oppose it.
It is. It's nice. I kind of I find the message of the video interesting, and it is something to relate to, and something to feel, something to vibe with. I wish it was true that truth always wins. It's not really true.
Yeah. We both. Gosh. If you have, I just want to say, if you have an audience in front of you, and you have one guy right here who's just speaking the truth, and another person right here who's a skilled manipulator, that skilled manipulator will sway far more people. That's what's, so you can't say truth always wins. You can say you need to really try really hard to make truth win, because you're up against a lot of liars and tricksters and con men and manipulators, professional manipulators, and lots of people just don't want to hear the truth. I don't want to hear the truth.
Death always wins.
And that's why it's rare to have a politician who just gets up there and just speaks the truth. They're always trying to trick somebody and making stupid promises that they have no intention of keeping and so on.
Alhamdulillah.
All right, take a couple super chats and then we'll jump into the next video, which is longer, but it is on the origin of Islam and lots of information and sources in there. So we'll check that out. AP and D Wood, have you seen the video of a Muslim extremist in a Catholic church harassing some sweet old ladies makes me sick. Cue Muhammad Hijab sound. You mean that one where the guy's walking in there and saying how he wants to subjugate them or something, subjugate some lady or something? Is that the one he's talking about?
Yeah. He talks in Arabic, I think.
Yeah, they don't understand. He's saying all sorts of nasty stuff. It is yeah. So Maxim, there is a positive to that, namely, I mean, not actually hurting these old ladies, and he's trying to be funny for people who are watching. And ha ha ha! Look what I can get away with these little weaklings. He really helped expose some true colors there, right? Because the fact that his Muslim viewers would find that entertaining and appealing, that sends a message to everyone else going, whoa, what is this? What is it? We heard for our entire lives, it's just a tiny minority of extremists, and 99.99999% of Muslims just want nothing but peace and harmony, and they all cheer for this. And then you look after Salman Rushdie is attacked, and you see how many people are cheering for it. You look at October 7th and how many people are cheering for it. It's like, I'm not convinced it's this tiny minority of extremists anymore. This seems pretty darn mainstream in Islam. But the truth always wins. The truth always wins, remember.
Death wins.
Hello, AP and David. Death and taxes. Death and taxes. They always win. Hello, AP and David. Thank you so much for everything you guys do. May the Lord bless you both. Thank you.
Thank you. You too. Thank you. Appreciate
Abraham says, Dizzlin Ali, have y'all seen the promised Land series pilot? You guys need to create a series about Pedo Mo in the Office style. No, I haven't heard something called Land series.
Do you mean that show that is on YouTube that is meant to unite comedy with biblical account of the Exodus or something? There was such a thing that I saw. Is that what you're talking about?
What if we did do a show, but it's like 7th century Arabia, but we did it like The Office, like it's a, you know what I mean?
Yeah, there is such a show. I think this is what that refers to. But there was a YouTube show that they're starting apparently, where that's basically the concept. It's like The Office style, but it's like it's the story of the Exodus from a Christian perspective. It's not even like it's actually
interesting. No, I don't watch a lot. I don't watch many shows like that. But that might be interesting. But wouldn't it be funny if like we had a show, and we have, of course, Vocab as Prophet Muhammad, and he's in his suicide vest, but it's set in 7th century Arabia, and there's a film crew. And he's like, it shows him talking, but then it does cutaways and he explains how he's manipulating them or something like that. And then it cuts back to, I just convinced him to give me his daughter. What is this? All I have to do is say revelation. And that would be funny. We could do something. We need to get way more popular, so we just have endless piles of money so we can just do everything that pops into our heads. If you want to live in harmony, don't vote Khomeini.
You can't vote for him. You can't vote her again.
Yeah. If you don't want Khomeini in power, your best bet right now is Israel getting really ticked off at him.
And getting rid of him, that would be based.
If you have to choose One Piece or if you had to choose One Piece or world peace. One Piece or world peace. I'd go with world peace.
I would say neither of them.
Hey, we have Goat Hub here. Says, too loud. I can still hear AP. Turn it down.
How dare you?
Aprendo mucho de sus videos. Gracias por valioso trabajo. Solo pasé a saluderos. Rende palabra rico suave. I don't know any Spanish that I didn't learn at Taco Bell.
I appreciate that. I agree with that entirely, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Ein Berliner mit Berliner AP. Ich mache mir Sorgen dich. Ständig diese gekämmte Scheitel. Du liest Mein Kampf und sprichst ständig über Krieg und Juden. Just kidding. Love you.
This is a good comment. Says I'm worried about you.
Yeah.
Always the
Ooh,
hair
Mein
like
Kampf,
this.
Mein Kampf, and I read my.
Always
Oh, yeah, yeah,
hair
yeah.
like
Your
this.
hair.
You always talk about war and
Yeah,
Jews.
that is.
Nice. Beast.
Agnostics are just atheists who don't want to argue. Well, you had Madeleine Murray O'Hair, who was she started American Atheist back in the day. Tragically, she was killed by her own atheist workers. Like, literally, I'm trying not to laugh. It's such a messed up situation even to say it. But she used to say that agnostics are atheists without guts, which is interesting because when the new atheists came out, they basically turned atheism into agnosticism and just said, we just lack belief in God. We're not saying that God doesn't exist. We're saying we lack belief in God, which, I mean, agnostics lack belief in God. So, I mean, you had an important distinction back in the day between people who said there is no God and people who said, I don't know. And that was a distinction. And then the new atheists removed it and just said, we lack belief in God. Okay, what do you call a person who just says there is no God? What do you call that person? Because it used to be atheist and now it's not. Anyway. Anyone else find themselves bobbing their heads side to side listening to this guy?
Yeah.
He does put some dope beats in there. Your mama unalive so many,
I don't
you
like
see.
the whole electronic music synth wave vibe. It's kind of fun, but also not. What?
I should write a script and have whoever edits those videos edit one of my videos to make it super cool because that's the stuff I suck at. Your mama unalive so many, you see. Alhamdulillah. We do need to come up with the Battle of Your Mama jokes. Is it me or does he sound like he's talking about science as if it's a religion? Science is a way to explain the natural world based on data, not a metaphysical, undeniable, immutable truth. Well, you can mean different things by science. You could refer to a methodology, the scientific methodology. You can think of it as a body of conclusions based on the scientific method and so on. So you can think of it as, but yeah, it does get treated as like a sort of a ersatz religion for a lot of people.
Did you just say ersatz?
No, I didn't. You misheard me.
Please don't say that anymore.
I will never ever say it again, just for you. Truth does always win in the end. That's true, but like way down the road. Truth does always win in the end. However, this is a long-term matter. Yet the enemies of the truth fight fiercely to suppress that victory and delay it. That is indeed the truth. Number one reason why I will never believe Islam, the single fact that the founder pulls revelations out of his rear end just for his own gain is enough.
There is, first off, I would say that there is no universally agreed form or a necessity to say that the revelations have to come out of your mouth. You know, there is nothing that says if they come out of your behind, then it means they are false. What if this religion is meant to be that way? That revelations actually are true, but they are also meant to come out together with the excrement. We don't know. I don't think that this is logically sound. However, I get the point, and I agree.
And this is one of the most powerful issues against Islam. And it's one that, if you're trying to convince a Muslim, this is a good direction to go. Pointing out, hey, isn't it convenient that he tells everyone they get 4 wives, he gets more? Isn't it convenient that he sees Abu Bakr's little daughter and then gets a revelation saying, yeah, you can have that little daughter? Isn't it convenient that he swears an oath to his wives to stop having sex with this slave girl in his wives' beds and so on, and then he gets a revelation telling him he can break his own oath? Isn't it? Aren't all these revelations convenient? He sees his smoking hot adopted son's wife almost naked, lusts after her, and then shocker, gets a revelation saying, "Oh yeah, you need to basically cause a divorce. You're causing a divorce by lusting after her, and then you need to marry her." This does not look terribly suspicious, but the main issue, guys, is this won't sink in for Muslims unless they hear about it, and they're not going to hear about most of these issues from their leaders. They have to hear about it from us. So that's a that's along the same lines as what Zafar Heretic was pointing out, that the people who are lying and spreading nonsense are pretty well organized, pretty well funded there, and therefore we need to be relentless. All of us need to be relentless in responding to it. So Isa here says, hey bros, do you think I should debate Nadir on the Quran and Islam on not being scientific? No.
No.
You're on the Muslim side of this issue. You should be his partner in debating other people.
There absolutely is no point in debating Nader or debating with Nader.
Yeah, and Isa, he's not a guy. He's just not a guy we're interested in. He doesn't. No one likes him. No one likes him. So if you crush him, you could crush him. It doesn't. You didn't make a difference for anybody because no one pays any attention to him. If you lose, then you lost to some guy that is considered a joke. So yeah, I'd pick a better. Nadir is just someone who's like pure deception and manipulation and not an ounce of integrity and so on. And
the only
people caught on to it a long time ago.
The only people who turn up in the comment section supporting Nader Ahmed and saying, Nader crushed it. Yeah, he did a good job.
Are Nadir's 5 burner accounts where he praises himself. I've caught him before. I've caught him before under a fake account praising himself. It was pretty
he
pretty
actually
pathetic.
Comes in with fake accounts to praise himself. Nobody else praises him. No Muslim is on his side. So he has to jump in and say, well, Nader made a very good point.
I did that years ago. It's still on my old blog. I'd have to find it, but you're talking like probably 12, 13, maybe more, maybe 14 or 15 years ago, where someone came in the comments of the blog and was praising Nadir for his debate performance, and I was like, what are you talking about? Everyone else said he just got crushed. Who is this praising him? But I looked and I was like, wait a minute, someone who makes the space after the parentheses before the punctuation. Let me go check one of Nadir's articles. Anyway, I called it like textual criticism and Nadir Ahmed or something like that. And I showed that the same weird punctuations and stuff that this person is using is what Nadir uses and so on. So I showed that he was praising himself. It's pretty hilarious.
That's so stupid. I mean, at least try harder. At least change the way you type. Like, for example, I have on my YouTube channel, I have 520,000 burner accounts that I use to basically support myself and agree myself with. Yeah. But I always type differently on every single one of them.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. And it's funny because Muslims always think that. Like when I used to post those videos and look, hey, here are 30 people who left Islam after watching my videos. And I posted all that. And Muslims, these are all your own fake accounts. I was like, guys, how many fake accounts? I think I sit around. But that's actually interesting thinking because we know they do that, right? We know they make fake accounts and think, I'm a Christian, but this is so powerful. This is such powerful stuff. I'm converting to Islam now. We know they do it. So anyway, all this stuff always reveals their own thinking. What they accuse you of that because that's what they do, right? So, hey, we make fake accounts, so they must be doing it too. They do that. That's what they do. Twin Peaks equals surreal, philosophical, campy murder mystery. Whoa, I didn't know it was that. I thought it was like a sitcom or something. Murder mystery that goes haywire, and one is left theorizing about what anything even means. You
thought Twin Peaks was a sitcom?
Yeah, I never watched it. I'd always say like an advertisement for Twin Peaks back in the day.
That's
talking like 1990s or something like that.
That's fun.
Let's see. Mutaman says, did I see your debating Central Dawa? Yeah, I have no clue who that is. But you want to debate Muhammad in the Bible or something like that. And so I agree. Did I see your debating Central Dawa, David? He's a total clown, says Muhammad is in Psalms, Song of Solomon, and Genesis. Not surprising at all. It's pretty standard.
Standard stupidity.
Let's see. AP, why are you always on David Wood's streams? Does he have leverage on you? Tell us. Good question.
Did you touch her? Don't lie to me.
Did you keep your short on? For anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about, that is Muhammad Hijab and how he debates now.
Good boy.
It's just, dude, it's so perfect. You look at his fans, and it's so great, it's so brilliant. And then people are saying, and then you've got all the people who say, No, why wouldn't Pierce answer all these objections? And it's like, you think on a debate on Israel and Hamas and Hezbollah and stuff that any random thing that hijab brings up, these guys have to divert the show to it. That's absolutely insane. So anyway, that's wild, wild stuff. Robin Hood here says, Spock, for good to defeat evil, good has to be very good. For good, there's got to be a wing-a-ling, man, if he's quoting Spock. D. Wood, what good Christian books are there to send for someone in prison? I listened to the audio version of Case for Christ in prison.
I totally read this wrong. I thought it's asking for books that to make somebody go to prison.
Oh. If you want a book for someone to go to prison, then read The God Delusion. Read The God Delusion, something like that. D-Wood, what books are there for? So something like that. And it also depends on what the person's dealing with. Like I also read Answering Islam in prison. Seeking Allah, Finding Jesus would be good for someone in prison. But yeah, it kind of depends on what the person is interested in. It's just, guys, lots of cult stuff in prison as well. Lots of cults focus on prisons because they have kind of literally a captive audience. So
cults are beasts.
Yes, they're indeed beasts. Let's see. I take 5 revelations a day because of my big belly. I think you're funny. Fun fact, the word Akbar and Allahu Akbar mean mouse in the Hebrew language. Yeah, we always point that out for people who commit the phonic, we call it the phonic fallacy or the phonetic fallacy, or they say, this word sounds like this over here. Hey, David, do Muslims understand how much superior Jesus' moral standard was compared to Muhammad? No, they do not. Because they don't know what Muhammad's moral standard, things have been sanitized for them. So we have to unsanitize Islam for them and show them real Islam so that they can actually make an accurate comparison. Nadir is super handsome and has a very big penis. I'm totally not Nadir. That sounds exactly like Nadir.
Man.
Twin Peaks is great. You need to see it. You see? So Muslims are the Democrats accusing the Republicans what they do, inshallah. No wonder they vote Democratic Party, inshallah, you see. And we have the great... Wait, more on Central Dawah? Mutaman says, Central Dawah debated Sam Shamoun's student Albi and God Logic and got cooked by both. His YouTube is embarrassing like a young Muhammad hijab. Yeah, it's just the only reason, again, I have no idea who he is. The only reason I agreed is that's one of the scientific miracles argument that has been collapsing, the perfect preservation argument that's been collapsing. We got 2 main issues to focus on now. It's more difficult to make these collapse because they're more foundational in Islam. But the Islamic dilemma, want to keep blasting away at that, and Muhammad and the Bible. Those are the next things you want to drop. And those it's going to be more difficult because...
Who's Central Dawah?
Some Dawah guy, some low-level Dawah guy.
It's a TikTok Dawah guy with 700,000 followers.
Oh, he's big on TikTok? Huh. Oh, okay. That's interesting. No, okay.
In fact, oh, no. Wait. What? Not followers. Wait. Not followers. Sorry. Hold up. Okay, only 30,000 followers. Correction.
Okay. Yep. Let's see. But you see, Muhammad is in the Bible when it warns us about false teachers and false prophets, you see. Yeah, that's the funny part. You know, the Bible can say over and over again, guys, false prophets, false teachers are going to come. This is what they're going to do. Muhammad does all of it. And then they say, you see, Muhammad is a true prophet according to the Bible. What's happening, David and Ridwan? God bless you. Have you seen the latest Islamic all-male Diddy dance? I'll post in the chat so you can enjoy the laugh. No, have not seen that. I don't think you can actually post links to stuff in the chat here. I have it set because way back in the day when people could post links, you had a bunch of followers of a certain religion who would just post a bunch of porn in there to try and distract from every live stream. So I had to disable people sharing links unless they're unless I give them that ability or something like that. Anyway, all right, you ready, AP? You ready to check out this video?
No.
So this video, ladies and gentlemen, was banned in India, and we're going to find out why. So something in this video made enough Muslims complain to get the government of India to ban the video in the entire country. We're going to find out why this video was banned.
This is an ex-Muslim atheist channel, which tries to convey the truth of Islam to Muslim people and make them humanists and rationalists. Our aim is not to spread any kind of hatred towards people based on their religion or faith. Muslim brothers are requested to verify the sources given in video and start thinking differently. Is the best and final religion of God copied from somewhere? If so, where did it come from? And if copying is wrong, how much worse is it to copy and then claim originality?
Copying
In
is
today's
based.
video, we will explore the origins of Islam, the name of Muhammad, his haircut, his prophethood, and where his knowledge of the Bible and Torah came from.
Not enough videos about Muhammad's haircut. Anyway, this is but it's kind of, you were just kind of pointing it out. Muhammad would just hear about something that the Jews or Christians were doing and so on, and then he would have to do it too.
Yeah, and he would go like, and even
what, the Jews are circumcised? We need to circumcise.
he actually did the whole thing as well. The beard, the way the beard is done is, he says the Jews do it like this and the pagans do it like this. Don't do it like them. Do it like this.
Do it like this. And so, what else? What else? The copying. Oh yeah, when he was talking about was Islam copied. Yeah, I just made a video. That was my last video I think I posted, was 5 times Muhammad actually copied the New Testament. And these are hadiths where Muhammad is clearly copying something that he heard Christians saying about the New Testament and passing it off as revelation. The response from Muslims is always, but it's true. And that's why, of course, Muhammad could teach the same thing as other people and so on. Issue is, one of the things he copied was from Paul, the Apostle Paul, which wouldn't have been a problem for the early Muslims, because early Muslims actually believed that Paul was an apostle. It's later Muslims who realize they have to blame, they need someone to blame for our records of Jesus not lining up with the Muslim version of Jesus, and so they had to blame someone. And at first they were like, oh, we'll blame the Council of Nicaea in the 4th century and so on. And then over time they realized, no, this stuff goes back to the 1st century. So they needed someone in the 1st century that they could blame for corrupting the message of Jesus. They couldn't blame Jesus' original apostles because according to the Quran, they were devout Muslims. So they needed to blame someone else, and they settled on the Apostle Paul. So isn't it weird that Allah copies the Apostle Paul? Weird stuff.
Allah
After
is
this,
the best
we-
copiers, and copying is good.
He's
Yeah,
the best of
so I'm
plagiarists.
checking the thing. Do the opposite of what the polytheists do: let the beard grow and clip the mustache. Jews and Christians do not dye their beard. Do it differently. These are some of the things. Something about your sleeves, your pants, your hair. These are things that Muhammad actually said. Not joking. It would be funny if he also said, the Jews cut off the foreskin of their pee-pee. For you, you shall cut all of it off.
Cut off your whole pee-pee. Cut off a whole pee-pee so you can be even better than the Jews. Hey, we could actually, if we actually did a sort of like office-like show about Muhammad, you could show him like debating what he should do. Should I have them cut off a whole pee-pees? But no, then how would I talk? And you could even say there are remnants of this debate in the Muslim sources when they went out to battle and they said and they were suffering from the absence of their wives, and it said, Muhammad, should we castrate ourselves? And you say, see, it's in their sources still that they were considering castrating themselves. But the real reason was because they wanted to be superior to the Jews and cut it all off. Not just a little bit of skin. We'll go all the way and chop it all off, you see.
All of it was strong.
Very strong.
Real men cut off the whole pee-pee.
Real men cut off the whole pee-pee, not little part.
will discuss the origins of Islamic festivals like Ramadan, Eid, Bakra Eid, and Hajj. We will also look into the sources of Islamic elements like the angel Jibreel, the burqa, the niqab, and most importantly, the Quran. Your imams will honey feed you the sweet version of Islam, and if you want that version of Islam, then go with your imams. But if you want to learn the alternate truth, then follow me. So stay tuned until the end of the video to see how everything was copied in Islam, and let's begin in the name of humanity.
I must say,
This channel...
I already have a bad impression and want to give it a lower score because he actually used the red pill, blue pill meme.
Did he?
Yeah.
All I saw was the donut, and I thought, man, I want a donut.
Yeah.
It was funny. He said, if you want people to honey feed you some sweet lies, just go to your imams. That was pretty funny. If you want people to honey feed you sweet lies, go to your imams.
That's what
It's not run with the help of any religion or organization. Support us in this noble campaign. An entire team works on every video of this channel, and there is no significant earning from YouTube. Your regular monthly support is needed to maintain this channel and mission. For this, you can also take membership of Patreon or channel, or you can also support through UPI and PayPal every month as per your financial condition.
Yeah, again, guys, you can see by the quality of the videos, they're putting a lot of editing and stuff into their music background. Very well done videos. So if you want to see more of those, you have the means of support right there.
Become a soldier of this mission and feel proud to be a supporter of the biggest mission of the century. Have you ever tried to imitate your idol? For example, copying the new haircut of your favorite footballer, actor.
What was just said about AP's haircut? It's funny that just came up. People pointing out that AP keeps copying the haircut of a certain guy with a little mustache. Fortunately, he's not copying the mustache, but then we have Muhammad. Muhammad's going to be copying haircuts.
Or you can also support through UPI and PayPal every month as per your financial condition. Become a soldier of this mission and feel proud to be a supporter of the biggest mission of the century. Have you ever tried to imitate your idol? For example, copying the new haircut of your favorite footballer, actor, or cricketer? There's nothing wrong with that. You're an ordinary person, and it's natural to follow trends, so you copied your idol. In today's video, we'll examine who Muhammad was influenced by in terms of clothing and hairstyle while forming Islam.
The reason I was giggling was I had a flashback to like 9th grade when Vanilla Ice came out, and one of my friends was saying, we should get Vanilla Ice haircuts, man. We should get Vanilla Ice haircuts. And I'm looking at him going, I think that's pretty freaking dorky, man, if we walk into school with Vanilla Ice haircuts. Those of you who don't remember the original Vanilla Ice haircut where it was up and then he like had the front like bleached and stuff like that. I don't know. It was but he was serious, like, we should get Vanilla Ice haircuts, man. It's awesome. Anyway.
We'll also reveal Muhammad's real birth name, which he later changed.
Oh my gosh.
So, let's check first. Where did his hairstyle come from? And then we will see
Vanilla
where did he
Ice.
take his name from.
Vanilla Ice, yep, coming hard like a rhino. Here we go.
According to Bukhari's Hadith 5197, it is said that the Prophet copied the people of the book, i.e. Jews and Christians, by keeping his hair loose as they did. However, later he parted his hair differently. This means he eventually styled it like the pagans, specifically the tribes of Aus and Khazraj, who played a significant role in helping him move from Mecca to Medina to establish Islam. To understand this better, you must watch my Muhammad series. So, where did Muhammad's hairstyle originate?
Hey, by the way, this happens over and over again, where at first he'll be copying Jews or something like that, and then later on he'll decide with the pagans. Like even at first, when the Qibla was apparently Jerusalem, and they faced Jerusalem. You do have other theories about this and so on, but the mainstream view is that they were facing Jerusalem at first, so facing the Temple Mount at first, and then later Allah changed it to face the Kaaba. But it's just interesting that Allah is changing all these things based on Muhammad's changing relationships and changing attitudes towards Jews. At first, Jews are these authorities in matters of religion. So yeah, let's do what they do. Later on, they reject him. Oh no, you can't trust these guys anymore. Let's go with the pagan center. Well, you know what? But it's okay because we'll say Abraham made it. Yeah. Abraham made that. Yeah, Abraham. So we're not bound down to that pagan place. No, it's not pagan. Yeah, that was corrupted. It was actually Abraham and so on. And anyway, that's how these things.
I thought he was joking when he said that we're going to talk about Muhammad's haircut.
No, but no, I actually like it because you think, well, what? The haircut? Why are you going to focus on that? But if you look at it, it's actually like tying it how Muhammad is coming up with his ways of doing things. He's copying these guys until he doesn't like them anymore. And then, I'll copy these other guys to try and appease them and get them on my side. Sounds like a manipulator. Muhammad sounds like a professional manipulator.
From Jews, Christians, and pagans. Like an ordinary person, Muhammad was influenced by the people around him and copied their clothing and haircut. Muhammad's name. What does the name Muhammad mean? Can it even be someone's real name? Actually, Muhammad means the praised one or praiseworthy. It's just a title. Titles are added before names. Like
it is weird. So all praises to Allah, and yet Muhammad is the praised one.
Doctor, Professor, Mr., or Mrs. No one in the world is given just a title as their birth name. Have you ever heard of a child whose real name is Mr. or Mrs., Doctor, or Professor? Of course not, because these are all titles. Therefore, it's clear that Muhammad adopted this name when he started spreading Islam, after the age of 40. But what was his original birth name?
What? Will you object to that?
I would say that is not, it doesn't follow, and it hasn't been substantiated. It hasn't been sufficiently demonstrated that his name cannot have been Muhammad. And yes, so far the argument to this point is not very strong, I would say.
Yeah, I would say as far as his name couldn't be Muhammad because it's a title. I'd need to see more on that you couldn't be named something. I understand the point about Mr. or something like that, but
the thing is, you're basically saying that the Arab society and the earliest references to Muhammad are not too long after Muhammad's death. That the Arab societies casually refer to this guy as Muhammad, and people didn't have this objection. Wait a minute, that was his real name? You know?
We shall see.
Although Islamic texts claim that Muhammad was named Muhammad from childhood, this is unlikely since these books were written 250 years after his death during the Abbasid Caliphate, and no parents would give their child a title as a name. Muslim scholars claim Muhammad's full name was Muhammad ibn Abdullah, meaning Muhammad, the son of Abdullah. But there's another important point to consider. Abdullah means slave of Allah, and before Muhammad's time, there was no concept of an Islamic Allah. In reality, Allah was a title used in Arabia for God, much like Bhagwan, or God, in our context. Bhagwan could refer to many deities, while Shiv is the name of one specific deity. Similarly, in Arabia, Allah was a title, and Hubal was the most significant deity, with goddesses like Lat, Manat, and Uzza considered Hubal's daughters. Muhammad's parents were pagan idol worshippers who believed in these goddesses. Therefore, Muhammad's father's original name was likely to have been Abd-ul-Lat, meaning slave of the goddess Lat. This was probably considered insulting after the rise of Islam, so when Islamic texts were written 250 years later, these names were heavily altered. So if Muhammad was just a title, what was his original birth name?
What do you think about that? So the claim there is that Allah wasn't, at the time, would have been a title similar to just like God, and not the name, and therefore Muhammad's father, who according to Muslim sources was named Abdullah. So Muhammad would have been Muhammad ibn Abdullah, Muhammad's son of Abdullah. And so Abdullah means slave of Allah. And so he's saying that was not the name of a god. It was like our word God. And therefore, since Muhammad's pagan tribe believed in Allah, Talus, and Manat, it's more likely that his father would have been named Abdul-Lat, slave of the goddess Lat. and that later Muslims would have changed this because it's embarrassing if Muhammad's father was a slave of a pagan goddess.
I would say that once again, it's speculation. That there is no evidence to suggest that this is factual. So it's interesting speculation. Have heard it many times before. Both of these things, that his name wasn't actually Muhammad, that Muhammad was a title that was given to him later on. There is an idea to say that that he was named Muhammad by certain people or by his followers, or maybe even by people after his death, because to say that he was a person, a man of good character or something like that, that his actual name was different. However, these are again just speculations. I don't think that there's anything wrong with a society giving children a name such as Muhammad, for example. I mean, I haven't seen it demonstrated that obviously nobody would name their child Muhammad. Obviously nobody would name their child the faithful or the good or the honest or so, or whatever it is. And the whole idea of about the name Abdullah is once again speculation. The regular explanation, one of the regular explanations about why his father's name was Abdullah is that, for example, in an environment where people are polytheists, like there in Mecca, even there, they would hold one certain god in higher regard, or view one certain god as the greater god, as the greatest god of all the gods. In this case, for example, Hubal is often seen as a superior god, the greatest of the gods, and then after him and besides him there are other gods. So referring to Hubal then as Allah, the god, the highest god, might make sense, and therefore his name might be Abdullah. Or you could speculate and say, I don't think so, maybe it was Abdullah. But here's the thing, even if you were somehow to conclude that Abdullah is unlikely, how do you get that it was actually Abdullah? So there's not much to support that either. It's just all of this is speculation at this point.
Here's the issue. The issue is that, yes, the Muslim sources are very late. I mean, you have Ibn Ishaq, that's her first detailed biographical source. It's more than a century after the time of after Muhammad's death, and you don't even have that. You have a later version, a later sanitized version of it by Ibn Hisham. So, and Muslims don't even trust that. They don't even trust the later sanitized version. They go to later sources like Sahih al-Bukhari and Sahih Muslim. There you're talking 2 to 2.5 centuries after the time of Muhammad. So here's the issue. If you're dealing with sources that late and you know that these guys are changing things and fabricating things left and right, which we know they were doing, it kind of opens the door for almost anything you want to build a case for. So you can say, hey, these seem like exactly the sort of guys who would have been embarrassed if Muhammad's dad was named Abdullah or something like that and would have changed it over time or something like that. I'm like AP. I don't think you can know that. It has to be speculation, but that's the point. Not having any sources for the first century of Islam, that makes it, there's a lot of possibilities there. The possibilities are endless, and sort of at one end of the spectrum, you have like the complete Muhammad mythers. There was no Muhammad or something like that. It's all fabricated. And the other end of the spectrum, you have like people who take all this stuff completely seriously. And yes, Muhammad is exactly as he is represented in the major hadith collections. But basically everything in between those extremes, you can make a case for, because you have very little to go on for that time. Very little to go on.
According to the famous Egyptian scholar, Dr. Yusuf Zaidan, who was also the director of manuscripts at Alexandria, Muhammad's original name was Kutham, a name he kept until he was 40 years old, before he claimed prophethood. This information is confirmed on page 39 of the book Hayat-e Muhammad. If we delve deeper, we find that Muhammad's grandfather, Abdul Muttalib, had a son named Kutham.
That's the guy who breastfed him.
When Muhammad was in his mother's womb, this son died, and Abdul Muttalib gave Muhammad this name.
Oh, no, my mistake. It was Abu Talib. Yeah, it's his grandfather's name, Abdul Muttalib. Sorry, let me back that up. I stand corrected, ladies and gentlemen. It was his uncle who breastfed him when he was a baby, not his grandfather.
Scripts at Alexandria, Muhammad's original name was Kutham, a name he kept until he was 40 years old, before he claimed prophethood. This information is confirmed on page 39 of the book Hayat-e Muhammad. If we delve deeper, we find that Muhammad's grandfather, Abdul Muttalib, had a son named Kutham. When Muhammad was in his mother's womb, this son died, and Abdul Muttalib gave Muhammad this name after his birth. Islamic books later manipulated this story, claiming that Abdul Muttalib named him Muhammad based on a dream Muhammad's mother, Amina, supposedly had. Now think for a moment. Would Allah send revelations to a pagan woman? Remember, it's said that before Islam, these pagans...
Why wouldn't he send revelations to a pagan woman? He sent revelations to a pagan man, Muhammad, and then he helped, he helped Muhammad's pagan uncle breastfeed him. It is weird, though, that they think all these people, all these different people, all these pagans are getting all these revelations and all this help for Muhammad, and yet these people don't become Muslims and remain pagans. Weird stuff.
Buried children alive. And in a hadith, Muhammad himself says that his mother was not forgiven by Allah and is in hell. As I always say, when studying Islam, be skeptical of any statement involving divine intervention, because this divine power has not appeared since Muhammad's death. So, many sources confirm that Muhammad's original name was Kutham ibn Abd Allah.
Wait, did you just say this divine power has not appeared since the time of Muhammad? How do you explain the Ummah's tremendous victories over the Jews in recent... Oh, never mind. I take it back.
Meaning Kutham, son of the slave of the goddess Allat.
Oh, wait. So this is the claim that Muhammad's real name was Kutham, slave
and
of
is in
Allah.
hell. As I always say, when studying Islam, be skeptical of any statement involving divine intervention, because this divine power has not appeared since Muhammad's death. So, many sources confirm that Muhammad's original name was Kutham ibn Abd Allah, meaning Kutham, son of the slave of the goddess Allat. For someone like Muhammad, who later condemned idol worship, this name would have been quite embarrassing.
Once again, that is speculation. This is all speculation. These are all secondary sources. There is no reason. Can't believe I'm defending Islam here, basically. But there is no reason to dismiss the early Muslim sources and then to take these other secondary sources to then trust them instead. The idea that Muhammad's name was actually Kutham is just speculation. There is no strong evidence to indicate that this is actually factual. And similarly, the idea that his father's name was Abdullah is also, again, just speculation. It is there is no strong evidence. I haven't seen any strong evidence. I understand that some people may feel very, very passionate about such a claim. I haven't seen any strong evidence so far. I would like to see it if there is. What do you think, David?
I would say that when you have some sort of secondary source pointing in a different direction, that may not be enough to say, oh, this is correct. You can give some weight to it in the sense that if something is veering from the standard Islamic narrative, then why? Why is it's along the lines of the principle of embarrassment. So if you start saying other things about Muhammad that run counter to the standard Islamic narrative, you can say, why were these things being written? Unless some of them go back to some things that were known during the... It's like, in other words, it's like, so take something that is based on the principle of embarrassment, the satanic verses. Muslims today generally don't believe in the satanic verses, and yet it's all over their earliest sources. Why is it all over their earliest sources when later Muslims did not like these things and they had a completely different narrative? Well, the explanation for it being in their earliest sources, so many early sources, is that people knew it was true. So that if you have different narratives about Muhammad's name, and his name, was different to the age of 40 and so on, and that's when he was given the name. If you have an actual case that you can present here, It would be similar in the sense of like, why would someone make that up? Why would someone at some point in Islam say, hey, we're going to make up this story about him having the name Kutham. We're going to make that up. So with me, it's not enough. It's not definitely not conclusive or enough to say I agree with that or I believe that or something like that. But I understand why some people would think that, would say, okay, why is this in here? That sounds like people are remembering something about Muhammad and they're trying to explain it.
It's also, I think, one of these arguments that I think, what's even the point?
Oh, so you're saying, so like, hey, even if you're right, it's not some life-changing thing that he had some different name before he was 40.
Yeah.
Okay. And I guess the point there would be, if you were able to successfully show that Muhammad had a different name, and therefore you would show that claims about him being given this name earlier or before his birth or something like that, those are fabricated, and therefore you would cast more doubt on the Muslim sources, something along those lines. Or just sort of in the, hey, everything you guys have been taught about Islam, everything's under investigation because of all these kinds of different issues and people making things up.
Hence, at the age of 40, Muhammad declared himself a prophet and took the name Muhammad, meaning the praised one. This name was later claimed to be divinely inspired when Islamic texts were written much later. It's clear that no parents would have given their child a title name at that time. Even if it wasn't Kutam, it would have been some pagan name, meaning the son of a slave to some other deity. According to Islam, calling Kutam Muhammad is considered shirk, associating partners with Allah. Let's prove this from the Quran. Allah himself says in the Quran that all praises are only for him. Quran 34:1. Therefore, calling Kutham Muhammad, meaning the praised one, equates him with God, which is shirk. Additionally, Kutham insisted that everyone say Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, peace be upon him, after his special name, indicating that he considered himself a god. He named himself the praised one and created a god who demanded praise just like him. In Muhammad's 23 names, the two most famous, Muhammad and Ahmad, promote shirk. Now, let's explore where Muhammad's prophethood came from.
I could tell you want to object to that because you just you're in a nitpicky mood and want to attack everything.
Yeah. What is your objection to that, David?
What
is your objection to that?
Oh, I'm just wondering. When you have all praise to Allah. I'm wondering if you can interpret that in the I'm wondering if that should correctly be interpreted in the extreme sense of don't praise anything except Allah, and therefore calling Muhammad the praised one would be shirk, or if it's just saying, hey guys, let's praise Allah a bunch. I don't know. I'd have to think about it.
But here's the thing. It would be totally consistent to say that Allah is the only one worthy of praise, and to also say, hey, my son did a very, very, very good job at school, and he got a lot of praise from his teacher, and to be happy about.
Yeah, the issue here is if the name's actually coming from Allah, and Allah is saying, this is my praised one, and he's revealing all praise. Again, I'm not sure that the claim, all praise is to Allah, means nothing else can legitimately be praised, versus just saying, hey, let all our praises to God. It doesn't mean you can't praise something else, but there is something pointing out, like Allah is saying, hey, here's this guy, he's the praised one. Oh, by the way, all praise to me. I don't know.
I don't think this is a strong point. So I don't think that this is convincing, honestly.
We will see. Take a couple of super chats. Here's one's for you. AP, I, your most humble of all your humble followers, humbly ask, in concern for your health, you consider drinking camel Zamzam water rather than the Red of the bull Apis.
How do you not know that I don't have? How do you know that I don't have camel Zamzam water and camel urine in here?
It's funny that it's not camel pee; it's camel Zamzam water.
I have camel urine here and Zamzam water together mixed. That's what I drink every day.
We should make an energy drink like Red Bull, but it's called Zamzam.
Oh yeah,
It'll be very popular among Muslims.
or it's called Red Camel, and it has a peeing camel on top of it.
Mamma mia, Nadira makes the best spaghetti. I am definitely not Nadira. Crazy that Muslims prefer scientific miracles to prove Islam, but mostly Dawah use military victories and conquests in their preaching. Strange for such a peaceful religion, yet they never mention 14-0 in Russo-Turkish wars. Yeah, how are they doing against in battles against against Israel lately? I think they're like. I guess you could. I could guess they could say that since they all celebrate it, they could consider October 7th a temporary victory that led to massive other defeats. It is amazing how you see Allah's on our side. He helped us kill 1,200 of them. It's like, man, you guys got crushed.
It is so stupid too, because it is October 7th is not an isolated war or an isolated battle. It is even if so, they lost it, because you have on the one hand Hamas together with Palestinian civilians and other terrorist organizations pouring together into Israel and trying to kill and torture and rape as many Israeli civilians as possible, and they did succeed in killing over 1,000 Israelis, but then it was quite short-lasting. Their celebratory attitude, once the IDF took control of the situation and fought back, killed many of the invaders, pushed them out, and then actually started invading Gaza and bombing it to bits. That is still part of the same fight, and we clearly see who is losing here. So the fact that they actually come out and celebrate October 7, which says a lot about who pro-Palestinians are and who pro-Islam people are, is incredibly stupid. Incredibly stupid. All you do is celebrate one day where you kill and do horrible things to others, and then you cry as soon as you get a response. That's who these people are.
You know what the cheering for October 7th reminds me of? It's a small scene in a movie I haven't seen since the 1990s. But anyway, there was an Eddie Murphy movie called Harlem Nights. And in the movie, there was a boxing match. This is way back in Harlem in, like, I don't know, the 1930s or something like that. But there was a boxing match in there with a black boxer versus like an Irish guy, Kirkpatrick or something like this. And all the white people wanted Kirkpatrick to win because he's white. And but everyone knew the black boxer was, I think it was Jenkins or something like that. This was a long time ago. This is over 30 years ago I saw that. But everyone knew that the black boxer was going to win. And they have the actual match, and this guy's just beating the white guy almost to death, just beating the crap all out of him. But at one point, the white guy gets one punch in, tap, and then the whole like white audience jumps up and cheers. This guy got one little jab in as he's getting beat almost to death, and the whole white crowd jumps up and cheers for that one little punch. But that's what it looks like. Yay, we gotta punch in. We gotta punch in. Look how strong we are. And it's like, look around you. Look around you. You are getting absolutely obliterated here.
It's genocide.
Wild stuff.
Theory genocide.
You shouldn't debate Central. He's a moron. You will make him popular. Quick question. Whatever makes you think I don't want Dawa guys to be popular? What have I ever said to indicate that I do not want certain Dawa guys to be popular? If he is a big enough liar and enough of a narcissist, okay, I have no clue who this guy is. If he's a big enough liar and a big enough narcissist, I would love for him to be popular. We need more of these guys. He'd have Al-Azhar Uni on earpiece to help him while debating. It's pointless. Good for him. Pull any stunts he wants. Cam says, so Muhammad stated the trans movement. Muhammad started the trans movement, inshallah. No.
According to Shia sources, yes, he did.
No, it was his uncle and Allah. Allah gave his uncle the amazing ability to breastfeed a man. So the question, can a man breastfeed, according to Shia Muslim sources, is absolutely correct. Don't eat donuts, eat some Berliner. Donuts. That's a good point.
Berliner.
Ich bin ein Berliner. There's a new Dawa argument Central will use. It has spread on TikTok like fire from Daniel 2. God Logic and Sam already did a session on it to watch that he'll try to catch you off guard. Guys, I'm not interested in this debate right now. This debate's in the future. Muslims should make this is referring to circumcision. Muslims should make their pee-pee 1.8 inches long. That should be Islamic circumcision. That since Muhammad is the pattern of conduct, they have to cut their pee-pees down to 1.8 inches. D Wood, Halloween is coming. AP will get the mustache. That's possible. Might get the little mustache. Mo walk like me walk. Me talk like me, hair like me. Oh, wait. Mo walk like me, talk like me, hair like me. Oh, wait. That does sound like Muhammad. Mo, walk like me, talk like me, hair like me. Ein Berliner says his real name was Mopus, a.k.a. Muhammad ibn Shaitan. It's Shaitan.
That's true. That's actually what his real name was. I'll tell you that.
Brother D. Wizzle, will your debate versus Robert Spencer be on YouTube in the future? I don't have a preference. I'm a huge fan of you. May the best case win. Well, we have to do it first. We have to, that's in the future. AP, how do you predict Islam will die? Their birth rates are depressing. Oh, hey, Dawood.
I would say that it all comes down to one thing and one thing only, which is that Islam die. No, I think it's. I think that the death of it is different in that it is Muslim societies, when as they develop, drift further and further away from Islam. You can see that in Muslim countries, every decade the reports on whether the population is more or less religious has quite a trend. As these countries develop, they become less and less and less religious, less and less practicing in terms of Islam, and more open to other worldviews, more open to other religions. Islam has a very repressive attitude, and I think it is always good to point out this repressive attitude and not to mix in the whole secular reformist attitude of Islam, but to preserve the traditionalist attitude of Islam, because that is the one that makes Islam die. Because it's hard for Muslims for Muslims in advanced societies to keep continuing with this traditional Islam. It makes Islam die. And that's how Islam will slowly and slowly and slowly die. In fact, very fast, actually, I would say. Maybe as a prophet, I would say that within the next 200 years, it will die a horrible death.
I think it's going to be way quicker than that. But the question was not directed towards me, so I will not share my brilliant and correct insights.
I am the prophet, and I said it is 200 years. That's it.
After years of watching you two, I know more about Islam than I ever thought there was to know, but still tune in. It's a gross fascination, like the circus, clowns, contortionists, magicians, spectacle. That is a good description of Islam and Dawah. When my first kid was a newborn, he often attempted to drink from my male nipples. This is evidence of his prophethood. Maybe he's the Mahdi. Good point. Keep an eye on that kid. D. Wood, you got a pair of brass balls going to Dearborn and maybe Detroit. Respect, sir. Oh, I've been to both a bunch of times. AP, the Holocaust Museum experience is very moving.
That's true. Mm-hmm. I have never been, honestly.
I have.
Everything from my on the Holocaust that I know, that I've gathered, is just from readings and all that. So I wanted to go there and take it in, and also ask questions, have the experience of it once, and also want to go back again. David and I are going to go together.
Yeah, and I went there trying to think if I went there with Nabil. I went with somebody, but this would have been like 2005, 2006 or something like that. Went way back in the day, and it actually restored a bit of my faith in humanity, not because of the stuff you see in the Holocaust Museum. It was afterwards. Walking through there, seeing all these people sitting around all these exhibits and stuff with all this like awful stuff happening, and everyone's just standing there and stuff. And anyway, finish and I walk out, and there was a group of like 20 or 30 like high school girls out there, and they're all just sobbing their eyeballs out. They were all just sobbing their eyeballs out, crying after what they just seen. And it was like, these young people just had a dose of reality right now, and they were reacting appropriately to seeing the reality of what human beings are capable of. Maybe if enough young people see, they can turn things around.
Yeah. It's also going to be Ashira Solomon. She's going to be joining. So it's going to be us going to the Holocaust Museum. I met with her and had an episode on JNS TV, Jewish News Syndicate, when we were in Israel, hosted by Fleur and her. And I had been planning forever to meet her and record something with her. So we're going to meet up and record a few things together, and then also go together, the three of us, to the Holocaust Museum and all that. So it's going to be based some content.
Possible. I'm German and Argentinian. What do y'all think? When we hear German and Argentinian, you know what we think.
And my last name is
no last names. We already know. No last names. We already know what the last name is going to be. Hi, can y'all wave back? Yes, just did. There you go. Let's see. Eminem, best of men. No one better than his writings. Yes, and how would you refute it? Aaron says, can you guys respond to Ibrahim Manusar and My Heart? No. No idea who that is. All right. Let's go back.
Muhammad's prophethood. Now that we know Muhammad's original name was Kutham, let's see where his prophethood came from. Clever leaders often have writers who glorify them, and Kutham was no different. His team included people whose job was to portray Kutham as a prophet. Although efforts were made to hide such things, some evidence has surfaced due to human error. For instance, Hassan bin Thabit, a poet, once asked the Prophet of Allah if he should write poetry to belittle the pagans, the polytheists of Mecca, according to Bukhari's Hadith 6150. The Prophet did not say that mocking any religion was wrong. Instead, he asked, "What will you do about my lineage?" Because Muhammad himself was from a pagan lineage, and mocking them would also mock his family.
Now, this is interesting. What about my forefathers? I will take you out of them as a hare is taken. So they wanted to make fun of the pagans, and then Muhammad said, what are you going to do about my family lineage? And then I said, we're going to take you out like taking a hair out of the dough, take your family line out of them so that we're not making fun of them. Anyway, this could be interesting. Here, let me check this
Hassan
out.
bin Thabit, a poet, once asked the Prophet of Allah if he should write poetry to belittle the pagans, the polytheists of Mecca, according to Bukhari's Hadith 6150. The Prophet did not say that mocking any religion was wrong. Instead, he asked, "What will you do about my lineage?" Because Muhammad himself was from a pagan lineage, and mocking them would also mock his family. Hassan replied, "I will extract you from them as a hair is extracted from dough." This shows that Muhammad's marketing team was actively rebranding him as non-pagan. This was also why his name was changed from Kutham to Muhammad. Now ask yourself this: if Muhammad's lineage was entirely truthful, Why did he need to change his pagan name, identity, and background? When we study Muhammad's prophethood in more depth, we find that he didn't have any qualities of a prophet. As Aisha, Muhammad's favorite wife and a child bride, said, according to Bukhari 4855, "Whoever among you says that Muhammad knew what would happen tomorrow is lying. Even Aisha believed there was nothing prophetic about Muhammad. If we don't want to believe Aisha, let's see what Kutham, now Muhammad himself, said." According to Quran 46:9, Muhammad says, "I do not know what will happen to me or to you." The final and dearest messenger of God couldn't even foresee that there was poison in his food. Kutham was a prophet.
What?
What was that? What verse was that?
Surah 46, verse 9, where Muhammad says, where Muhammad is ordered by Allah to say, "I do not know what will happen to me or to you."
La 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 la. I'm not something original among the messengers, nor do I know what will be done with me or with you. I only follow that which is revealed to me, and I am not but a clear warner. This doesn't really mean what. This doesn't have to mean what this video says it means.
Seems like it's a cumulative case. In other words, some of this is circumstantial. Some of this is circumstantial evidence and part of a cumulative case. You have Aisha saying Muhammad doesn't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Muhammad saying, "I don't know what's going to happen to me or to you." Normally we read that in the context of like salvation. He doesn't know what's going to happen because, and that's the context of that in the hadith. Muhammad says Allah he doesn't know whether he's going to end up in paradise, actually, because you don't know what you're dealing with Allah. You have no assurance of salvation. As far as the hadith in Bukhari, and viewing that as Muhammad trying to clean up his family and sort of rebrand himself as non-pagan background, that could be, since there's a big, century-long empty space that allows all kinds of speculation, that could be kind of circumstantial evidence, AP. If Muhammad's trying to clean up his pagan lineage, then you could say, oh, well, then it would make perfect sense for Muslims to change his dad's name from Abdullah to Abdullah. Doesn't mean it actually happened, but you can say it would be consistent with something they might want to do. But in that situation, since there's a bunch of speculation going on, you can say that Allah was to them another one of their pagan gods, and so why wouldn't this guy be the slave of a pagan god? Anyway, this is just what happens, guys, when your sources are really, really late.
Who could not even predict his own dinner. According to
Hang on. He couldn't predict his own dinner. I think I said that once in one of my videos.
the final and dearest messenger of God couldn't even foresee that there was poison in his food. Kutham was a prophet who could not even predict his own dinner. According to Bukhari's Hadith 59713, in his last moments, Muhammad told Aisha that he felt his jugular vein being cut from the poison given to him in Khaybar. You can understand this in detail by watching my videos on this topic. All these points lead to the conclusion that Kutham's, now Muhammad's, prophethood was entirely derived from the stories of the prophets of the people of the book, Jews and Christians. Although those prophets performed miracles, Kutham couldn't perform any such miracle.
That's true.
Now let's see where he got these detailed stories of the prophets. Muhammad's knowledge of the people of the book. Islam is called the final religion of the Abrahamic religions. And Muslims proudly say that Allah is the same God who gave the Torah and Bible to the Jews and Christians before the Quran. Therefore, Islam refers to them as the people of the book. But there's no doubt that in Muhammad's time, there wasn't the information age we have today, where you can easily search for anything on Google.
Who was that again? Was that Ahmed Deedat? Who's the one who's saying book? The book?
I think it was Ahmed Deedat.
I think so. The book. And what they're going to reading the book. Like all of a sudden he's just randomly sound like a chicken. That's so weird. It's like the weirdest thing ever. Anyway, we need to put that into some video or something like that.
Despite that, Muhammad, now Kutham, had good knowledge of biblical characters, even about their health conditions. For example, the prophet Moses, known as Musa, had a speech impediment, as confirmed by both the Quran 20:25-28 and Exodus 4:10. This speech impediment is a personal health condition, yet Muhammad was aware of it. How can this be? For example, can you know that someone's cousin has cancer or someone's sister has HIV? No, this is private healthcare information and is not available in the public domain. However, it's clear that this knowledge was not divinely inspired, because if it were, there wouldn't have been any mistakes. And yet, Muhammad made several significant errors, which we'll discuss in another video. For now, let's take one example. In the Quran, Mary, who gave birth to Isa, Jesus, is called the sister of Aaron, Quran 19-28.
Solid.
Later, this had to be explained as being in the same lineage, descendant, and various awkward explanations were given in commentaries.
That's true.
The person writing the Quran confused Mary, the sister of Aaron, with Mary, the mother of Jesus, because both had fathers named Amram,
No.
which has been forcibly changed to Imran in Islam.
Well, one of them didn't actually have a father named Amram, but the Quran says that her father was, and therefore they'd be.
Yeah, that's the entire point of it is of the Amram name is that it is significant evidence that there is a mistake here, because Mother Mary is never ever reported to have a father named Amram. It is only the other Mary, known as Miriam, sister of Aaron and Moses, who clearly, according to the Bible, had a father named Amram. And suddenly we have in the Quran referring to Mother Mary's father as Amram, which doesn't make sense, because the only name associated with the father of Mother Mary in Christian tradition, according to the Apocrypha, which is not entirely discredited, is Joachim. That's it. That's all we have. Amram just comes out of nowhere, and it seems that the Quran, in a very, 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 very weird way, calls that guy by the name of Miriam's father's name, and that just really seems bad. Really seems bad. Yes, I said Mother Mary. What's your problem with it? Kizzy? I said Mother Mary.
No, I was thinking of something totally different. I was thinking like, oh, okay, this seems like the Muslim explanations seem like a real stretch here. If this were the only issue, then maybe you could say, okay, we'll let it slide. But when you see this over and over again, like he's responding to the Trinity, but he has no clue what the doctrine of the Trinity is. He says the Jews call Ezra the son of Allah. We can't find any Jew who's ever said that ever. Guys, it always breaks down to the same issue. I can understand a 7th century Arabian caravan robber getting this stuff wrong. If you're saying the creator of the universe kept making all these claims, and it's like, okay, if he refutes the doctrine of the Trinity, but he gets it wrong, and he accuses Jews of believing something that Jews don't believe. If you're saying Muhammad came up with this stuff, that makes sense. A human being could make these kinds of mistakes. If you're saying Allah did, then you're stuck with, okay, Allah either knows what the doctrine of the Trinity is, but he's lying about it, in which case he's deceptive, and he knows that Jews don't call Ezra the son of Allah, but he says they do anyway, so he's lying. So you're stuck with either he's deceptive or he just doesn't know, and he's ignorant. So he's deceptive or he's ignorant. And I would have to say, if I were a Muslim, I would go with deceptive, because he is the best of deceivers.
That's based.
Mary and Maryam were two different characters, and according to Jewish and Christian scriptures, there was a difference of 1,400 to 1,500 years between them. Not only this, but in the Quran 5:1-16, Allah claims that in Christianity, Jesus, Allah, and Mary are considered gods, whereas Christians do not consider Mary as part of the Trinity. Many such mistakes related to the Abrahamic prophets are found in the Quran, which were later covered up with strange explanations and excuses. The most common excuse is that the old books have become corrupt.
Well,
Christians don't believe that Mary is part of the Trinity?
nope. But
What?
Allah says that's what we believe, unless it's not really from Allah.
But how? Why do you think Mary is part of the Trinity when clearly she ate food?
Yeah. Hey, that should be the next Muslim explanation. No, Christians did believe that, but they corrupted Christianity to remove Mary from their Trinity.
But if this knowledge was not given by Allah, then who revealed it? Let's look at Islamic texts themselves. Muhammad's life story reveals that every year during Hajj, there was a fair in Mecca where people from various religions came and shared stories of their prophets and gods. Muhammad attended these fairs since childhood. Later, according to Bukhari 3392, when Muhammad began receiving revelations at the age of 40, his wife took him to her cousin, Waraqah bin Nawfal, a Christian convert who translated Abrahamic books into Arabic. To understand Waraqah's influence in making Muhammad a prophet, you should watch my Muhammad series. Even after Waraqah's death, there is evidence of many people from whom Muhammad gained knowledge. According to Ibn Hisham, Muhammad often sat with a Christian named Abu Fukaha on the Marwa hills, and people would say that this Christian was teaching Muhammad. Another version mentions that Muhammad used to sit with a Christian slave named Jabir, and people speculated that it was Jabir who was giving Muhammad these ideas. During that time,
We just went through some of the Quran passages yesterday where Muhammad is accused of copying stuff from other people and called him the ear because he believes whatever anyone says and so on. So you have a lot of, it's just interesting that you have a ton of that in the Quran itself. It's the Quran itself that says that all these people around Muhammad were accusing him of copying all these stories. And we only brought that up. We only brought up those issues because Muslims are still using it as Islamic apologetics, as dawah, to say, when Muhammad would recite his things, everyone found it so amazing, was so impressed by it that they all bowed down because of the powerful revelations. They said this must come from God or from magic or something. You read it and everyone's like making fun of him going, you're calling this a revelation? We know you just got this story from that dude right there. So weird, man. Wild, wild stuff.
the stories of these prophets were very popular, and even small tribes considered these prophets their ancestors. Oaths were taken on these books. Muhammad, who also wanted to become a leader, naturally took a great interest in these stories. He even visited Jewish schools, Sunan Abi Dawud 4449, and might have even obtained a degree. He expressed his belief in the Torah, took oaths on it, Abi Dawud 4449, and scolded those who did not respect these books, Abi Dawud 4736. Later, to establish himself as a prophet, he declared these books corrupt. All these references lead to the conclusion that living a life surrounded by these Jewish and Christian stories of prophets and books made it easy for Muhammad to proclaim himself as a prophet. Now, let's see where fasting in Islam came from. Fasting, Ramadan, and Eid. As we mentioned earlier, Muhammad wanted to become a leader, and leaders do everything to please the people. Was fasting necessary in Islam? Let's understand why. Muhammad dealt with two types of people: the people of the book, Jews and Christians, whose prophets he declared himself to be the final prophet, and the pagan people who worshipped idols and accepted him as the last prophet of the Abrahamic religions after joining Islam. Both of these groups practiced fasting, so fasting became necessary in Islam. How Muhammad copied fasting and aid from pagans is explained in detail in my video. But first, let's read the hadith,
Got a video on the moon god there. Looks like it's in a different language, though.
which says the origin of fasting in Islam was copied from the Jews. According to Bukhari 2004, when Muhammad reached Medina, he saw the Jews fasting on the day of Ashura, and he asked them about it. Notice here that Allah did not tell Muhammad. He had to ask the Jews.
What's going on there? What are you guys doing? Why are you not eating? Why are you not eating?
Jews.
The Jews explained that their God saved the people of Israel from Pharaoh on this day, and their prophet Moses fasted afterward. Muhammad then said that Muslims had more right over Moses than the Jews, so he ordered his followers to fast on this day as well.
It is funny. You have these hadiths all over the place where Muhammad just, wait, you do what? Okay, hey, we do this. This is what we must do.
Later, Muhammad replaced the Jews' one-day fasting of Ashura with the pagans' 30-day fasting, as found in Hadith Al-Muhammadiyah 308. To understand the pagans' 30-day fasting in detail, you must watch my video. An important point here is that Muhammad declared himself the last messenger of the God of the Jews and Christians, and claimed that he had more right over Prophet Moses than the Jews. But how? Even if we accept Muhammad's claim that he was from the lineage of Ismail, Prophet Moses was from the lineage of Isaac, not Ismail. So, how could he have more right over Moses? The fake always tries harder to prove itself as the original. Even if we momentarily accept Muhammad's claim, then he should have treated Moses' descendants well, right? But did this happen? According to an authentic hadith, Riyad as-Salihin 1820, Muhammad said that the day of judgment will not come until his followers fight the Jews to the point where the Jews will hide behind stones and trees, and the stones and trees will themselves tell the Muslims to kill the Jews hiding behind them. What irony! Claiming more right over Moses than the Jews, but harboring such hatred for their people. And can stones and trees speak? And if they did, why would they command someone to kill another based on their religion? Look at this madness. How a religion...
Rocks and trees speak to me all the time, so clearly they can. If they can speak to me, then that means they can also speak to all the Muslims later, before the Day of Judgment. They speak to me all. I have long conversations with trees and with rocks every day. Whenever I walk past them, sometimes they're like, "Hey, where are you going?" And sometimes I respond and I have a conversation with them. That's how it goes. But when it comes to Muhammad's reaction to the Jews, the Jews they didn't like him and they made fun of him. And you can't make fun of Muhammad. If you make fun of Muhammad, then you have to deal with the consequences, and that means collectively Jews all become the enemy. That's how it is. So, there you go. In your face, debunked.
Wrong. In your face. Who's this guy?
Can fool us. A person kills another on the advice of a tree because of their religion. Share your thoughts on this in the comments below. Let's now discuss the second major festival in Islam, Bakra Eid. Eid ul-Adha. Eid ul-Adha is a major festival in Islam, celebrated as the sacrifice of Prophet Abraham's son for God. It's known worldwide as the Festival of Sacrifice. But where did this festival come from? According to Jewish and Christian scriptures, their prophet Abraham, at God's command, was ready to sacrifice his son Isaac. But at the last moment, God stopped him and sent a ram from heaven, which Abraham sacrificed instead. This story was copied into Islam by Muhammad, who replaced Isaac with Ishmael. This can be verified in the Islamic Hadith, Mishkat al-Masabi 34 or 45. To defend this, the usual excuse is given that the old books were corrupted and that the Quran provides the correct information. But if the Torah and Bible were corrupted, why did the prophets take oaths on these books? If they were to be replaced by the Quran, why did he believe in them?
You know what I find always very hilarious, which is that
you find lots of stuff hilarious.
I find it absolutely hilarious. So apparently, at some point, we don't know when, but at some point, these people, the Jews and the Christians, they corrupted their scripture. The Jews and the Christians, they came together and they corrupted their scripture. These people, and we don't know when it happened. We don't know how it happened. We don't know why it happened. We don't know if it happened. However, it did happen according to Muslims. However, there are so many problems with it, and we talked about this quite often. The Quran repeatedly acknowledges that the Jews and the Christians, they have the revelations by Allah with them. It is with them, and all they have to do is just to follow it properly. But they don't follow it. They don't want to follow it. They just have to follow it properly. And if they follow it, then they will be good. But they just don't follow it. That's the problem. This is what the Quran says. It never actually talks about how they literally corrupted the texts of the scriptures. If we are to accept that the Jews corrupted their scripture at some point, or that before the arrival of Islam it was corrupted at some point. We have to somehow place the corruption somewhere, I guess, between the arrival of Jesus and the arrival of Muhammad. How and when exactly would that happen? Are we really supposed to believe that the Jews and the Christians, who had major disagreements and who had huge disagreements, who fought and all that, came together and thought, "Hey guys, I know we disagree on our fundamental beliefs. I know you guys do that whole Jesus thing, and yeah, I know you guys don't do that, yeah. But we all have to agree on one thing. We need to really change something about our scriptures. We need to change our texts. We need to change our text. We need to find all the manuscripts, everything that is out there. When we need to remove any reference to Muhammad in there. We need to switch around the whole Isaac Ishmael thing. Gotta switch that around. Gotta make Isaac more important. Also, by the way, while we're at it, let's remove all references to that Kaaba thing, which is out there somewhere in the desert, which nobody has ever heard of, because we want to make that irrelevant to our religions. So let's change that completely. You Christians, by the way, you should probably add some things there, like Jesus saying, "I'm the Son of God" and all that. And while we're at it, you Jews, remove all the references which seem to be in line with Islam and so on. This is apparently what happened. This is what conspired somewhere before Islam arrived. And before Christians arrived, the Jews also were at it as well. They, the Jews, who held their scrolls, their Torah, in such high regard that they would put it into veiled rooms and carry it with such care and with such reverence and make songs about just a successful copy of a Torah scroll. They somehow also thought easily, you know what, there are some things here which we really don't like. How about let's just change those things? Let's change those things. And let's just make it all, let's just make it say whatever we want to say. How about that? And all the Jewish scribes were like, yeah, that sounds fun.
Good
Why
idea.
not? Yeah. And later the Christians also did that.
Mm-hmm.
This is somehow all this kind of stuff happens in Jewish Christian history.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, they were working together at it, because Jews had the Torah, Christians also had the Torah. But then to wipe Muhammad out of the Torah, the Jews have to wipe passages out of the Torah, and Christians simultaneously. So everyone's working together. Everyone's working together to cover up, to cover things up. They had to corrupt them. They had to corrupt their texts in exactly the same way.
The Jews will run over to the Christians and be like, "Hey guys, hold on for a second. Let's not fight. We just removed this reference to Muhammad from our text. We just want to make sure that you guys do the same thing, okay?
You want us to take that out of all our manuscripts? No problem. Everyone, go to all manuscripts and erase these things." Welcome to Islam.
What a religion.
Insanity incarnate.
What a religion.
Perfect Ray says, David and AP, do you predict Europe there will rise a second crusade type in the near future? I wouldn't call it a crusade, but you are going to have an increasingly hostile reaction that the longer... I've been saying it for years, guys. It's you're not doing away with the problem. People are just passing the problem off to the next generation. And the longer you put off dealing with the problem, that you have a bunch of people who want to violently subjugate the world, and you keep bringing in as many of them as you possibly can, that inevitably leads to a huge, massive conflict. And the longer you put it off dealing with it, the more difficult it's going to be to deal with it. I think Europeans are eventually going to deal with it. It's just the longer they put it off, the worse it's going to be.
Europeans.
I'm a peon.
Well, Europeans.
I'm a peon. I'm a peon. European. I'm a peon.
No, so predict second crusade. No, I don't think so. I think that's a ridiculous idea, considering that Europeans have long lost their balls to do such a thing. So of course it won't happen. What are you talking about? No, I think that there are some political problems that will arise in the future, in the near future. We are long past the point of no return. It's too late for that. There will be problems in the future. There will be problems, but it will soon be.
AP's shocking prophecy. There will be problems in the future.
Things will happen. In the future, things will happen. Prove me wrong.
Stuff will happen, and guess what? Stuff will happen, and there will be problems, and we can say, "Oh my goodness, how could he have possibly known this? It's a miracle."
When in the future things happen, remember me. Remember how I said things will happen.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Save this clip. My last name is Jolly, lol. Good last name.
Nice.
J3 Apologetics says, can y'all break down the Samiri error in the Quran? Might be worth Huh?
Did you ever talk about this?
No, I've never like made a video about it or anything. But basically, Samaritans. You have Samaritans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have Samaritans, and according to the Quran, there were Samaritans leading people astray during the time of Moses and the Exodus. The problem, of course, is that Samaritans did not exist yet. They're a later hybrid. After Jews took the Promised Land, then you get the Samaritans, which were basically a mixture of Jews and some others that were left over from the northern tribes. But yeah, long story short, the Samaritans who didn't exist during the time of Moses existed during the time of Moses. So it would be a historical error. But it might be worth making a video on that at some point.
Did you know that there are only estimated to be around like 1,000 of them left? That's kind of sad.
I should go hang out with some of them. D Wood, yeah, I saw this a couple minutes ago. D Wood, maybe need more moderators, spammers in the chat. Yeah, when I saw that Ein Berliner said this, I just picked 3 people that people were responding to who seemed like they were just trying to divert everything away from what we're actually looking at. So hopefully took care of that. Allah strawman the Christian and Jewish position. Yeah, he would make things up and then attack them. So Allah is actually the God. That'd be a funny video. Allah, God of the straw man. That'd be funny. The straw man God. I think if the West brought Muslims in slower, it would be good and would probably get a lot of them, especially their kids, to leave. But they bring them in too fast, and the old ideas stick around too much. Depends on what you want. So you're saying, hey, if people brought Muslims in slower to the West, then people would be able to adapt in a way that they don't if you bring in a bunch of them and then they all click up and so on. But I mean, if you want people to wake up to Islam, it's kind of aren't you better off if it's rapid? Aren't you better off if you really want people to wake up to Islam and go, oh my goodness, this is everything these critics of Islam have been saying? Don't you want it to kind of happen fast?
Mm-hmm.
Like you want it to be shocking, right? Those are the difficult things. In other words, you want a slow cook, or do you want the frog to jump out of the frying pan? Let's see. Tim says, don't forget how they found, changed, then re-hid the Dead Sea Scrolls. That took them a lot of effort. We should at least honor that effort. What are you laughing at? Oh, yeah.
That's true.
If they hid them. David, does the meek always inherit the earth? I think you'd be taking that way too literalistic if you said the meek always inherit the earth. That would be a weird interpretation there. All right, back to this video here.
Torah was finalized in 500 BC. So how logical is it for Muhammad in 1660 AD to declare it corrupt after taking an oath on it? Why was this baby swap done? This is a significant issue explained in detail in my video. The link will be in the pinned comment, so do watch it. Another point to note is that the Jews and...
What were you laughing at? Did you laugh at that graphic, the baby swap?
I find it funny that they call it the baby swap.
Yeah, I know that was funny, but the graphic was what was funny.
Yeah.
Christians whose books were copied don't take this story as seriously and don't engage in such barbaric practices. Now, let's see where the tawaf, circumambulation of the...
What did he just say?
Let's see. Since you're so concerned here.
Baby swap done. This is a significant issue explained in detail in my video. The link will be in the pinned comment, so do watch it. Another point to note is that the Jews and Christians whose books were copied don't take this story as seriously and don't engage in such barbaric practices. Now, let's see where the tawaf, circumambulation, of the Kaaba and Hajj came from.
That's not accurate.
What? Talking about the
that the Jews and
sacrifice
Christians don't take the sacrifice seriously and don't engage in such barbaric practices is not accurate. You could say that you have an opinion on that it is barbaric and that they technically do not engage in such practices, but it's not because they don't take it seriously. It's because of theological developments and so on. As far as I understand it, in Christianity, is because of the New Covenant. That's it. In Judaism, it is pretty much because of the destruction of the temple and the ceasing of temple worship. It is still thought that if in the future the temple comes back, then there would be once again sacrifice practice at the temple, for example.
You don't know anything.
Tawaf of the Kaaba and Hajj. What is Hajj, Tawaf of the Kaaba, and the truth about the stone kissed by Muslims during Hajj? In our video, Bakra Eid and Hajj Reality, we explain all this in detail. The link will be in the pinned comment below. For now, let's briefly discuss where all this came from. According to Bukhari's Hadith 4376, people used to worship stones, and when they found a better stone, they discarded the previous one and performed tawaf around the new one.
Stone. Let's
So,
walk around it.
even before Islam, Muhammad's people were performing tawaf around stones.
Look at your little weak stone. I have a way better stone here. Oh, let's walk around that. Let's walk around that. That's a better stone. Everyone, I heard about this guy. He's got an even better stone than us.
After Islam's rise, they started
And Islam, they all walk around stones. So pagan, so pagan. Let's walk around this stone and kiss it. Oh, we're better than the pagans.
performing tawaf around the Kaaba and the black stone. Now think about this. If Allah hates idol worship so much, why would He want people to perform tawaf around the Kaaba and the black stone? These are both worldly objects and stones. Why is there a problem with idols but not with these stones? It's simple. Islam is not only copied from the people of the book, but also from pagans. As I mentioned earlier, the pagan tribes of Aus and Khazraj from Medina were very dear to Muhammad, and he copied their 30 days of fasting and Eid. Similarly, he copied tawaf from them. Now, let's talk about some things related to this stone, and then we'll discuss an important contradiction. According to Tirmidhi's hadith, the Prophet said that on the Day of Judgment, Allah will give this stone eyes and a mouth to testify for the sins of the believers.
You see the graphic there?
Nice.
So guys, yes, the black stone will be alive and be an intercessor for people, and you have an awesome graphic there of what that look like. I want to steal that and share that.
What a joke!
You serious?
Seriously, it's written that it will happen. And not only this, but it will also testify to the people who touched it with truth. Some historical books tell us that this stone was stolen and smashed into pieces by the leader of the Qamatians, Abu Tahir, when he attacked Mecca. Many fragments were lost. He kept it in his toilet and used it as a latrine for 21 years, which you can understand in detail from my video, Attack on Kaaba.
Guys, and that was a Muslim group. That was a Muslim group. They were a Shia group who took over. Took over. Then they took the black stone, and then they had it, for I forget the number of years, but he said 21. And then they eventually gave it back after using it in a toilet, but they gave it back in a bunch of pieces. They gave it back in pieces. It's pretty funny.
Not only is the black stone unclean,
you see the graphic? I stuck in the toilet sheet for 21 years. I became dirty.
but the point is, If the stone was smashed and many fragments were lost, then how can it testify for the sins of the believers? Does Kutam have a backup drive? Or how does that work? Does this sound logical to you? Allah, who does...
To be fair, Allah could bring back all the pieces if he wants to. He could do it. He could do it.
Yeah.
Allah can gather all those missing pieces wherever they are in the bottom of some toilet somewhere, bring them all back together.
Yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with a serious problem with, for example, saying that the sun, that Allah could make the sun talk, or Allah could make the sun testify to things. So things like these are not, are part of believing that it could happen under supernatural circumstances which are not acceptable to your feeble human mind. In the same sense, the black stone talking or being put together and then talking is not necessarily impossible in the realm of the supernatural and all that. It is just a little bit weird. And it's also weird that the black stone has such high reverence.
That's the issue. That's the issue, right? If you want to say, hey, the great God Allah can make this stone speak. Well, if the great God Allah is real, then the great God Allah can make that stone speak. If you say, hey, this thing was smashed to pieces and some pieces were never recovered, well, the great God Allah, he has the power to put those together. For me, the real issue is, why is there so much emphasis on this freaking pagan rock? That's the issue. Why is a rock doing anything? Why are you kissing a rock? Why are you walking around a rock when you are the religion? If you saw any other religion doing this, walking so, oh, look, a rock. And then if you see videos of them, they're like climbing over each other and ready to fight to get a smooch on this rock. And it's like, why is the religion that claims to be free of paganism and idolatry obsessed, absolutely obsessed with a rock, and a rock that's going to come alive and is going to be reporting on them and so on? It's going to be interceding for them. Why is the rock at the center of your religion, like this dude Muhammad? That seems weird. That all seems weird.
Why are you gay?
Not speak on the great injustices in the world today will one day make a stone speak? Wow. Now let's talk about the contradiction. Even if you believe Muhammad's words today, his companion Umar did not. Yes, according to an Abu Dawud hadith, Umar himself said that he knew it was just an ordinary stone that could neither benefit nor harm anyone. If Muhammad hadn't kissed it, Umar said he would never have kissed it. Here, it's clear that Umar did not believe in Muhammad.
It is interesting because Umar saying, I know you can't do anything. You're a powerless rock, but I'm going to kiss you just because Muhammad kissed you. But according to Muhammad, no, that pagan rock is going to intercede for you because it's going to do great things for you. So I guess that's the point there, that Umar didn't even trust Muhammad's reverence for this thing.
Words.
This is an important thing. It is Umar himself who makes the point that basically others should also make, that other Muslims should make, and says, hey, I know you're just a stupid rock. I know you're just a dumb little rock. Nothing's gonna be happening after I kiss you. But my prophet, he kissed you gently. Mm-hmm. He smooched you. He loved you.
He caressed you.
Too.
He slobbered. He French kissed you. So yeah, guys, think about this, guys. This is Umar, the second rightly guided caliph. And Umar is saying, look, I know this looks really pagan. This seems pagan. If it looks pagan, walks pagan, sounds pagan, I have to conclude it's pagan, but I can't conclude it's pagan because Muhammad did it. Okay, that's the second rightly guided caliph. So you Muslims out there, guess what? You're free to go, this looks pagan, but I got to do it anyway because Muhammad did it, but really looks pagan. You could do that.
You could totally put that into one of those, into the Office version of things happening in Muhammad's time, where Umar goes there and kisses it and then says, "Look, I know what this looks like."
Mm-hmm. I know what this looks like.
Nice. Followed him. Now we know where the idea of tawaf of the Kaaba and the stone came from. Let's also see where the idea of making the Kaaba the Qibla came from.
There we go.
Where did the Qibla come from? According to a Bukhari hadith, Muhammad and his companions used to pray facing Jerusalem, the holy place of the Jews, Baitul Muqaddas, for 17 or 18 months before he changed the Qibla to Mecca and the Kaaba. According to Islam, Mecca was a holy city since the time of Abraham. Today, Muslims proudly claim that the Torah and Bible mention Mecca, which is actually not mentioned anywhere.
Mecca.
And if Mecca was truly a holy city since day one, why wasn't the Qibla directed towards Mecca and the Kaaba from the first day? Why did it take 17, 18 months? This indicates that Mecca was associated with Abraham long after Islam came into existence. Now, let's see how Muhammad, i.e. Qutham, treated Jerusalem, Baitul Muqaddas, after making the Kaaba the Qibla. According to Abdullah bin Umar, he saw Qutham, i.e. Muhammad, facing Baitul Muqaddas, Jerusalem, and relieving himself. Mashallah. From this, it's clear that Qutham, far from being the messenger of the Abrahamic religion's God, actually hated their God. And not just God, but also the followers of the Abrahamic religions, as we just learned that trees and stones will testify to kill the Jews. Where did Angel Jibrail come from? Angel Jibrail is supposed to be the angel who brought the Quran to Muhammad. If you watch my Muhammad series, you will find that when Qutham encountered a strange man in the cave of Hira, Khadija's cousin, Warqa bin Nawfal, told him that it was the angel Jibrail. This means the last prophet did not even know who the man was until a Christian told him. And even then, Warqa never accepted Islam. This angel mostly appeared only to Muhammad and was invisible to others. But sometimes when he appeared to everyone, do you know how he looked? Let's find out from the hadith. According to Bukhari's hadith 3634, it is reported that Jibril came to Muhammad while Salma was also present. Jibril spoke to Muhammad and then left. Muhammad asked Salma if she knew who that was, and she said, Dihya, referring to a handsome man among Muhammad's companions. Salma later said, by God, I thought it was Dihya until I found out later that it was Jibril. So whenever Jibril appeared to everyone, he looked like Muhammad's companion Dihya. Interestingly, there is no hadith where someone saw both of them together, much like in old comedy movies where two look-alike brothers never appeared together.
Anyone ever seen Dihya al-Kalbi and Jibril in the same room? Coincidence?
Now, you can understand for yourself why this happened. Where did the hijab and burqa...
That's funny, he just leaves it there. You can understand, you can figure out. You can figure out how that all happened. Yes, we can.
Good.
Yes, we can.
Come
nice,
from.
Nice.
In Islam, the hijab requires women to cover their heads, while the burqa means covering completely from head to toe. Covering the head was common in Jewish and Christian societies before Islam. But where did the burqa come from? You might remember that some time ago, Iran's moral police killed Masha Amini for not wearing the hijab properly. No rule in the world is greater than an innocent human life. Let's understand where this practice came from. Let's read the hadith. The Prophet's wives used to go to the fields of Al-Manasi for defecation. Umar told the Prophet to instruct his wives to observe the veil. One night, when the Prophet's wife Sauda was going to the field, Umar called out saying, I recognized you, O Sauda. From the hadith, it's clear that Umar said this because he desired the verses of the veil to be revealed.
Hey, do you imagine this? So it's like Sauda goes out to use the bathroom. And all of a sudden it's hey, Sauda, what you doing out here, huh? See out here, I'm just sitting out here at random at this spot that all the ladies go to the bathroom in, but I mean, you're one of the Prophet's wives. I shouldn't be seeing you out here where the ladies go to the bathroom at. I want to see other ladies go to the bathroom, but I can't look at you. You're the Prophet's wife.
I always follow the women around to watch them poop, and now I'm seeing you. Why do I see you? You should be hiding yourself.
Hey, it's funny. It's we were talking about The Office for a show, but there was I saw an episode of The Office where all the ladies, Michael takes the ladies out to the mall or something, so it's just the guys, and then the creepy one, Kevin, he goes, hey guys, we can all go into the ladies' bathroom and hang out there. And someone's like, why would you want to go to the ladies' bathroom? And he goes, it's every guy's fantasy. And Jim goes, no, that's a locker room, and the girls are supposed to be in there. But anyway, then they ended up going and hanging out in the bathroom. But that'd be Umar. That would actually be Umar. He liked watching ladies go to the bathroom, unless it was Muhammad's wives, and then it was, I saw your wife's butt as she was pooping. She was pooping, and I saw the poop coming out of her butt. Prophet Muhammad, your wives need to veil themselves so I can't tell. Oh boy.
And after that, the verses of the veil were revealed. So, where did the hijab come from? It came from Umar. Remember,
that's true.
The hadith says that he, Umar, desired the verses of the veil to be revealed, not Allah or Muhammad. Now think for yourself whether it's wise to still keep this black tent with us, even though modern toilets are available today. Unfortunately, many Muslim women believe that wearing a hijab will earn them a place in heaven and make them holy and pious, whereas in reality, it's just a portable latrine. Now let's address the most important point. Where did the Quran come from? Where did the Quran come from? Muslims believe that the Quran is the divine word of Allah, revealed to Muhammad through the angel Jibril. However, during that time, every person who claimed to be a prophet had their own Quran or holy book, inspired by their personal life, and the same happened here. At one point, the Quran itself says that it's in a preserved tablet, meaning that Allah had written it down before revealing it to Muhammad. But is this possible?
Yes.
Let's read the hadith. According to Bukhari's hadith, Umar once said that the Prophet's wives united against the Prophet, so he told them that if the Prophet divorced them, Allah would give him better wives. And, just as Umar said, it was revealed as a Quran verse. Now, let's consider some points. If the Quran was in the preserved tablet and divine, how did Umar's words become the words of Allah exactly as they were? Even the wording of the verse is in the third person. If they were the words of Allah, he would have said, I will give better wives. If they were the words of Muhammad, he would have said, my God will give better wives. But here, the words are exactly Umar's. His God will give better wives. This means this verse was 100% from Umar. The Muslim explanation is that Allah agreed with Umar. But let's think about that also. What happens if Umar...
Allah agrees with Umar. Does Allah also hang out in ladies' bathrooms to see them pooping?
That's why Allah created the women.
Allah,
just to watch them go.
Doesn't reveal Q66.5. Can Allah agree with nothing? The logic breaks down immediately once put to the test. This means that Allah's word is dependent upon Umar's word, and the Quran is not eternal and uncreated at all. It also means that Allah's existence is dependent upon Umar's existence, and Allah is neither all-powerful nor is He eternal, just like His Quran. To learn more about Umar's influence and which other verses came at his request, watch my video. And to understand the Quran better, watch my video where the myth of the Quran's preservation is completely exposed.
Hey, this is almost over, but there is a difficulty in that. So this is the English version on Zafar Heretic's English channel, which only has 2 videos, the ones we pulled up right now. But there are all these references to all these other videos. As far as I know, these aren't available in English yet. But maybe they're gonna translate all these into English and have them all up on the English channel.
Let's learn something new today. Did you know that some verses of the Quran were revealed in such situations that you won't be able to stop laughing? For example, the verses about the hijab were revealed when Kutham i.e. Muhammad was eating. He had a bone with meat still on it in his hand when Sauda came and told him how Umar publicly harassed her. The poor prophet couldn't...
Umar was spying on me while I was pooping. And he's like, I'm trying to eat here, lady. Quit talking about pooping and Umar being a peeping Tom. I'm trying to eat.
Even finished the
and then, of course, you've got the jinn, which they eat the meat off the bones.
He was holding before the verse was revealed. Interestingly,
was in his
it's
hand.
not even mentioned that Jibril came, nor Allah himself, but fearing Umar.
It's like his wife comes like, please, oh, Prophet Muhammad, he's harassing me, he's coming watching me poop, and then Umar comes and is like, please tell your wife to cover up, and Muhammad is just
He's
like,
still got his second bone. I have a revelation.
you are allowed to go poop. And,
Yeah.
Oh, and then they're like, I think that was a Quran verse.
But it's tied into this. It's tied in a really creepy way into this issue that it's up to the orders are to women to control guys looking at them, and therefore Allah. Notice what Allah doesn't say. Umar, quit freaking watching ladies go to the bathroom. You creepy, sick, twisted whack jobs. Quit looking over there. Quit checking out where ladies go to the bathroom at. It can't be that. So it's okay, ladies, gotta dress up like a frumpy ninja so Umar doesn't see you pooping. Take your portable latrine out there.
Quickly delivered the Quran verse. Now that's faster than fast food. Here's another example. Verse came due to a donkey's bad smell. Yes, this actually happened. According to this authentic hadith of Bukhari, the Prophet went to meet someone on a donkey, where the donkey passed wind, and two groups of believers started fighting over it. After that, a verse came, stating that if two groups of believers fight, make peace between them. This means that the verse was inspired by the donkey's passing wind. If the donkey had been washed and cleaned that day, this verse would not have come. These examples show that the Quran was in...
What?
I wouldn't say that. I would say that that doesn't have to fall. That doesn't necessarily have to be a fact. It may be that Allah just planned it that way. It was part of Allah's perfect plan that the donkey would fart and would
Does Allah know from all eternity that this donkey's gonna let a bubble out? Of course, and therefore he could have He had the perfect timing on the revelation of his powerful verses.
Inspired by not only humans, but even animals, making it hard to believe that it came from God.
I believe it.
About hellfire and the punishment of the grave, where they came from, I suggest you watch this video of mine, which will set you free from the fear of hellfire forever. But let's see now how the entire Islam might have come from. In the Quran, we find hints that suggest a theory about the origins of Islam. As we learned earlier, Muhammad means the praised one, which is a title, not a name. You may be surprised to know that Christians also gave a similar title to Jesus, Christ or Messiah. Long ago, a Christian sect emerged from the Jews called the Ebionites. It's said that they gave Jesus the same title, the Praised One, which was translated into Arabic as Muhammad. Although Muhammad incorporated pagan practices and mixed their special festivals with the Abrahamic religion to create Islam, there are still many similarities between this Christian sect and Islam. For example, this sect also believed that Jesus was not the Son of God, but a messenger. Many times, when the Quran mentions Muhammad, it seems as if it's talking about Jesus. Like one verse in the Quran refers to Muhammad as the son of a special mother, which raises a lot of questions. Additionally, early Islamic coins were found with the mark of a cross, raising further doubts. It's said that this Christian sect was...
The problem with the Ebionite theory, which is very funny because some people use it to say that that Muslims stole from the Ebionites. Then you have Muslims coming along saying the Ebionites were the real Christians. The problem with the Ebionites is that they didn't believe in the virgin birth either. Right?
Yeah, so you'd have to say it's basically a huge influence and then got changed. Something like that.
Boycotted by the rest of the Christian community due to their different beliefs about Jesus. It's possible that this sect evolved into what we now know as Islam today. Just as the Qadiani sect is not accepted as part of mainstream Islam today, it's possible that this sect might evolve into a new religion tomorrow. Similarly, this Christian sect evolved into what we know as Islam. Now the question arises, did Qutham, later known as Muhammad, really exist? And did he create Islam? I suggest you watch my video where the existence of Muhammad is discussed. In short, Muhammad's existence is not a big deal because there were many prophets in Arabia at that time. However, It's certain that whoever this religion was built around, he wanted to become a prophet by using existing religions. Whatever the case, one thing is certain. Islam is a completely copy-pasted religion from other religions and is now one of the most fanatic religions in the world. To eliminate this fanaticism and help people understand the difference between religion and humanity, we started this ex-Muslim movement. Join us and connect as many people as possible to this mission for the good of humanity. Move beyond fanaticism and value the things in life that truly matter, like science and rationality. Free thinking and a scientific approach can only benefit humanity. If you liked the video, please like, share your thoughts in the comments below, share it as much as possible, and consider donating to our channel monthly. Take care of yourself, and may humanity be safe.
All right, guys, so there's a link to this video in the description box and to the earlier video that we watched, why Zafar Heretic left Islam. So you can share those both. And again, the English channel only has two videos on it so far. But if you want to follow that, links are in the description box.
So what do you think about the video?
I don't necessarily. I mean, I'm like you in that there's a lot of speculation there. There's a lot of speculation there. A lot of it is points, about the black stone and the hijab and so on, stuff that we would agree with. But the area where there's lots of speculation, that's the nature of the situation. If you have Muhammad supposedly going around conquering Arabia, and we have no sources of it, and the people at the time have no clue. They don't know. No one's ever heard of it. No one's ever heard of Mecca during this time. You can explain that in a lot of different ways. So the window is basically wide open to come up with various theories on the origins of Islam. So you got one here, and yep, that is.
I think it is a pretty good video. It's very, very well done. It's very well produced. May science bless the channel with even more production quality and all of that. Praise to science, and praise to humanity and rationality and reason and logic. But sorry, I was just thinking of something funny. But I have some I have some problems with some of the logic and some of the evidence. That said, it is a good effort, and I totally support any ex-Muslim movement and any ex-Muslim attempt to critique Islam, no matter what perspective it's basically from, even if it's in the name of science and logic.
Yeah, and it's also good. I mean, even though we have we only have a couple of videos in English, there are lots more of these videos by Zafar Heretic in other languages, and I think they're planning to translate this one into a bunch of different languages and so on. Use AI to translate into a bunch of different languages and so on. So, yeah, that's good. It's a similar idea to the other day. Shino and Shania from Somali Christian TV were here, and it's. For me, I can't do a lot to reach people who speak Somali and don't speak English. There's not a lot I can do. There's a communication barrier. Whereas Shino and Shania, they're producing content that reaches Somalis and so on. And so it's the same thing. We need lots of different people creating content and sharing this information with different groups around the world, especially groups that don't understand. The point is, there's tons of videos available in English, tons and tons and tons and tons and tons. Other languages, not nearly as much. So need lots of them. And places out there, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, those areas, they need a lot of effort in producing content out there because that is a very important region of the world. All right, couple super chats.
Very well said. May science bless you for these words.
Yes, may science be praised. Do you guys think, all praise be to science, do you guys think Islam is against music and other human enjoyments to further undermine the people they wish to conquer, like Hindus and Christians? I think everything goes down to Muhammad didn't like something, and so it became part of the religion. They think there's some huge issue to it. It's just Muhammad didn't like certain things.
Yeah, I think it's just that Muhammad had serious problems, and that's it.
He did. But wouldn't you want to prevent Sharia? Now we have whole cities in the U.S. under its control. By the time people wake up, it could be too late. So you're saying
What?
Yeah, and did that happen due to rapid influx or to slow growth? That's the point. Islam takes over much more effectively by this slow, steady pace, and everyone keeps getting used to it. It's when a bunch of Islam comes at once and everyone is shocked, that's when you actually start having people pay attention to it. So
That's why we need more Islam.
no, I'm just saying the people who are saying, "Hey, we just need it to come in slowly." I'm like, I don't know. If you're concerned about people understanding it, people would understand it much more effectively. I'm saying, look, based on whatever your concerns are, if you're saying, "Hey, we want Islam to keep coming, but we want it nice and slow, so everyone can adapt and never becomes a concern," that doesn't seem to fit. In other words, sometimes things have to become significantly worse before they get better. Let's see. Mein Urlaub ist am Montag leider zu Ende. War schön mit euch allen. Hoffentlich bin ich bald wieder what is this?
Live dabei. It's an English injunction.
Oh, okay. They stuck it in there. Okay. I was like, what the heck is that? Stay safe and don't forget to pray for AP.
Dankeschön an Brille mit Brille. Vielen Dank.
Bitte. My stone's bigger than your stone, you see. I have the biggest stone. In Islam, we have the biggest, blackest stone. That stone is worse. That stone is worse than this one. It steals clothes. Yeah, there was the stone that stole Moses' clothes. Shame on that stone. So he beat the crap out of that stone. Oh, so that's why they call themselves Shiites. Because they took the black stone and put it in their bathroom. See Chapman there. Songs of Relief said, Dia in the streets, Jabril in the sheets. He's Dia in the streets, Jabril in the sheets. And I'm Berliner. Poop is good, lifts up the mood, except it is soup.
That's nice.
And the true Orthodox news and apologetics. But what about the return of Minge? Yeah, we got the return of Minge. That was the guy who was all over the internet for his apartment being raided for kitty pictures or something like that. But he says he was exonerated of all this, but still ended up all over the news. Don't know, because you've got the news broadcast, and it was saying one thing, but then you've got Minge saying he was exonerated, but Minge is a compulsive liar, so no idea what to believe in all of this. All right, AP, what's going on? You're going live tomorrow night? What's going on?
Most likely we're going to do that, yeah. Tomorrow, actually, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to go live tomorrow. We'll see.
We will see.
We will see. We'll have to arrange that. We'll have to see what's happening. We'll let you know.
All right, guys.
In the end, science will decide what we will do, and we'll just have to submit to science and see what happens.
Indeed. So, just trying to think if there's anything else. So, yep, we don't know what the situation is because there's stuff going on that we have to do. So we will have you all await further notification. Cool, fun times ahead, though. Hang on. Last two super chats here. If they come more slowly, they can convert more easily.
You can try.
Yeah, great theories everyone's coming up with about how to convert massive amounts of Muslims by controlling how rapidly you let them in. I'm focusing on other people. You're focusing on the Muslim converts. What are you even talking about? Shania and Shino are in the U.S., and they were going around to the Muslim community, and they said they talked to Somali Muslims who had been here for 25, 28 years and saying, no one's ever shared the gospel with us. So that's people who came in when things were moving very slowly. That happened. Things were moving very slowly. Where did all these people happen? This didn't happen rapidly. You have massive numbers of Somali Muslims in the area of the U.S. They tend to congregate in the same area. That didn't happen super rapidly. That happened over time. And who's going there? People won't go there. They're terrified of them. So how is this going to work for you? My point is there's no great solution to any of this. That's what Islam does. It presents you with a screwed up situation, and then you have to figure out the least screwed up way out of it. But every possible way you can deal with the issue is pretty rough.
Christians should go and spread the gospel to the Muslims in the United States everywhere.
That's a good idea. You heard it here from an agnostic, ladies and gentlemen. You always have to do what an agnostic tells you. Exactly. The more I learn about Islam, the more I think...
better listen to me.
Yeah, more I learn about Islam, the more I think you can make a hilarious sitcom based on all its idiotic nonsense. Yes, you could. Absolutely true. D, what do you think of the seed of serpent doctrine? Not enough to comment. Minna Hill says, love the video, but science and rationality, really? I'm sure the West is so much smarter now that we've all left Christ out of conversations. By the way, my pronouns are Caesar. Yeah, that's me and AP are both kind of chuckling at that. It sounds like something that the new atheists were saying like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and so on. If people just leave religion, they'll all become science-minded and so on. And no, they leave religion and then they cling to something else as a replacement. And it's usually some group that they join. And then they, it might be the woke or this or that, and they join a group and then they do whatever that group maintains. But what you don't see is, oh, now there's this increased emphasis on science and rationality. Where has that happened when you have tons of people becoming, where's that happening? I want to see some evidence of that. And as much as you keep focusing on, but if we all just leave religion, we'll all become rational, you sound irrational because all the evidence says something very different and you're going against the evidence.
Well, to be fair, it's the video is from India, which is still 50 years behind the West.
Why do you? People don't understand how messed up.
I'm just joking.
He's
Indians,
joking. Everyone's joking. Everyone.
Just kidding.
But there is a valid point there. Maybe like people like atheists in Europe and the UK and so on, they're just kind of waking up to, wait a minute, we thought this was going to happen. We thought we were going to get closer to the scientific utopia if we abandon religion, and we had millions of people just become atheists and nothing has worked. In fact, it's going in a very different direction than we wanted. Maybe atheists in other parts of the world haven't caught on to that, but don't worry, you will. And then Maxim here says, younger Muslims without overbearing parents usually walk away from Islam on their own. Yeah, that's why you have all these young and passionate dawah guys screaming that they're going to subjugate the world and chop people's heads off.
Well, I mean, we can all put our faith in reason and logic and science and humanity and see what happens.
Science will save us. Science will save us. And until then, just have to watch us until the scientific utopia comes. Catch y'all next time.
Let's do it from some.